way to close this fight without a shotgun. I mean, he's just going to be cleaned up, and if he's not going to be cleaned up by Lucky Pump, Jaguar, Bumboy, and Batman Booga are just going to walk on in. They got the dustpan and the broom, and they'll pick up all the rest of these points here.
And that's so perfect for them, as they were towards the top of the leaderboard starting the day. They tried to keep that up. They tried to keep their pressure on it, but started falling a little bit shorter. But if you are, if they're about 100 or 90 points off of the pace of Fabs and Snacky, this is how you get back up there. You go find these elims. You don't worry about Surge. You get this extra bit of loot, and boom, already so. It's about a 20-second run. They can stall this out. Normally when you see a fight happening here at Camp Cod, there's nobody around. Nobody is even, or rather the zone is nowhere around. No one's either willing to fight down here either, or they do and they quickly grab one player and immediately back off. And now it's good to see that Oka and Plus are doing that, because they don't have the ability to fight down into this team. They're already hunkered down so much, it just would not be worth it.
With only 6 games left, you have to make every single aspect worth it. Every point, every interaction, every elimination, every placement coming through. And right now a team who, if they want to try and stick to that record, remember, it's back to back to back to back champions. You can see this is the furthest back fourth that Rex's trio has been after day one, but it's not just a regular fourth. They're down like 100 points, right? So again, it's not only do they have to do things right, something at some point has to go wrong with Reed and his trio, right? They have to have one of those games where they miss the early placement threshold, where they're under threat of Storm Surge, and so far it doesn't seem like that's really going to happen.
I want to see dominance from them. I want to see them play like we know they can, because it felt like there was some hesitation yesterday. It felt like they weren't ready to fully push for those elims that they know they could have gotten, to push for those tags that they know they should have had. As we move over, Jelty Physics and Andy will get 2 eliminations that they're unfortunately going to launch pad away. They're not going to be able to follow him. No, they are. Ooh, they're not. So that's a full trio up there. And they are launch padding away. They will be able to find this solo, just desperately trying, and it's going to be Nate, who 130 effective HP. There's not much you can do against this trio. They're sitting in a bush. They're going to get tagged out. That's the damage coming through. Jelty should be able to find him, and a beautiful edit will do that for them. That's elimination number 3. Jelty Physics and Andy, who 10th place coming into today. They're looking to just try to climb the leaderboard.
Yeah, trying to get a little bit of a pay bump. It all starts in match number 1. Don't forget, 6 games of Fortnite's a lot. A lot can happen as the story begins to develop, as it unrolls, as the script and the actors play it out. We'll see who fulfills the spot, who ends up winning that award level performance, and then who might get kicked to the curb a little bit. They're saying, no, you didn't quite read your lines, you weren't following along, and maybe might have messed up when they zigged when they could have zagged, and it tends to be the case here in NAS. It all comes down to these small little decisions that then have this ripple effect. We've seen it happen around fights in Weeping Woods. We've seen teams just cascade on top of each other and having those leaderboard impacting moments. The question isn't if, the question is when. As we tune in here, the when could be happening right now as Reet is very far separate. Defiable, Salco, and Mojo trying to get the drop on him. Reet took a lot of damage. That's all of his shield. Defiable gets backed off a little bit, but Reet desperately trying to create a little bit of room. However, Mojo is also separated away, so this is the type of situation where as long as Reet doesn't get completely caught out, he's fine with that. They trade a little surge back and forth. Salco and Defiable aren't going to over chase from the high ground, right? So he knows as long as he's able to disengage somebody else who also over indexes on shields a little bit.
And this stat just points to their performance there. Before, or rather this season before finals, they had 2 top 10 games. Day 1, they had 5, meaning only one of the games they placed outside of that top 10, which is a phenomenal performance. And really the only way anybody is going to topple them is for them to be too aggressive, for them to not make the right play, which we saw they did almost every single game, every single turn, every single opportunity. They made the right call. We're able to just show it on the leaderboard.
Yeah, and you can see right now trying to get some kind of room around the map still. We saw that they got some tags over there on Defiable, but not necessarily enough, at least for that second Storm Surge zone. But right as I say that, Reed poking out, he's so accurate when he's able to kind of get a line with that AR, able to hit a headshot going through. So we've seen at least 60 or so damage be traded out from them, but it's very dangerous once you kind of get in that second zone surge. The first one, not going to be too bad when 3 trios are going to be pressured under, but once we get into that 5th zone, it's going to end up being a lot. And if you're wondering what we're talking about, that is Storm Surge. If you're new to competitive Fortnite, just watching us for the first time, popping around Party Royale and tuning in, or watching on TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, watch.fortnite.com, on your fridge, it doesn't matter. We're everywhere right now. Thank you for being here. And Storm Surge is something that punishes the most passive trios in the lobby, so it calculates the amount of damage a trio has done. If you're underneath a certain threshold, you'll start taking damage in the 3rd, 5th, and 7th zones. In the 3rd zone, it turns off once we have reached 70 players. In the 5th zone, it turns off after we've reached 50 players. In the 7th zone, it turns off after we've reached 30 players. So we're going to get a warning on the right-hand side here in a second, and we'll see which trios are above, which trios are below. And then, because we're at 78 players, 3 trios will end up being impacted. So we'll kind of take a look around the lobby. We'll see who's who, who's where. We see Scissor, Eclipse, and Poffy. They're up above, and they're decently above, so they don't necessarily have to worry about it. I am curious in terms of Favre and Snacky, because now they're wall-to-wall with Kaboo and Nico, and that's a team that's not afraid of fighting. Midi will absolutely jump in and take that fight. Curious to see what their Storm Surge situation looks like. They're only 16 above. Yep, stay with this fight. Need to see what happens. Thank you.
They're going to have to go in and be aggressive because they know 16 is not enough. The damage coming through. This is where Reed will outclass them, though. That angle that you talked about, the spray, the beam, if he gets that line, they will just dominate and take off all of your shields in what seems like a second. And I like that they're staying hip to hip. I like that they're not all going in one at a time. They're going in together if they're going in at all. Just trying to dominate all of the pieces as well, take everything over, and then make the decision. Now they can work their way back. Shots come through. That's going to be 24. They're 112 above. A lot of damage being done onto Snacky, though, down to about 150 HP. They still want more. They're not going to find more there. It's effectively even on the trade so far. So this really could go either way.
Midi, Nico, and Kaboo, no strangers to taking this fight. Midi, somebody who thrives in kind of that mid-tarp situation, and they're 300 above, so they have to assume that the team on the other side is getting a little antsy, but unless they hear shield breaks, I don't anticipate them going aggro, which makes this trade a little bit safer for Reet and Co. Something we've seen before where if you're boxed up next to a team at one of these Storm Surge special, if the other team doesn't move, and they don't react, and they don't start opening, they don't start aggressing, you can kind of guess that they're above Storm Surge, right? And then you get a little bit more information based on that. You can either be like, okay, they don't need to fight us wall to wall, so we can shoot at other people, or we can kind of press our luck a little bit and maybe get some chip tags, knowing that they're going to play more defensive. But 1 second, Storm Surge are going to turn on. Reet, Snacky, and Fabs, they're only 40 above, 23 above. That number's going to keep dropping down. They might get forced into a fight here, and they're starting to take a little bit more desperate ticks. And after I say that, you can see 23 damage below. Here comes the surge. It's going to be 25 damage every 5 seconds. That's the first tick trying to push forward. They will end up using a chug splash to negate it, but you keep seeing they're checking these left-handed peaks. The other team just keeps backing up, and Reach gone instantly. Storm Surge coming down and clapping it out. When Storm Surge gets the last hit, you don't go down but not out. He will still have a reboot card on the ground, but he will go down. They will look to try and box up on top of the reboot. The other team trying to get the revive right, and C-Fabs will take that. Lazy Lake is in place, so disengage isn't awful, but you have to think Fabs and Snacky potentially want to go aggressive here. But Midi and Nico, they're saying on the other side, they're like, hey guys, we could potentially look to go. This is a 3v2. We know that there's loot on the ground right now. They're trying to play defensive over it, but if I'm Fabs and Snacky, I'm getting out of dodge and I'm heading to Lake right now and getting Reet back up on his feet.
And in turn, if I'm Nico, Kaboo, and Midi, I'm going aggressive. I'm saying we get in this box. We just took down 1/3 of first place. We've got to go. And look in the feed. Rax getting elimination there. Rather just a knock. Might turn into Elam here shortly onto Shallow. But Nico and company need to get in. They really need to seek this opportunity and to capitalize on it, because look, that's how close the reboot van is. All it takes is one launch pad away, one disengage away, and Reet is back in this game. And if you are trying to win, if you are trying to take first place, it does not matter. You need to make them get out. There we go, onto the wall, and it's coming through. Fab's gonna take a lot of damage. We're not gonna put enough back. Will Fabs be able to do anything else there? No, they're gonna use a chug splash again, another one invested. Didn't get anything out of it.
See Fabs even holding on to the epic and the legendary shotgun. You're probably thinking that's inefficient, but it's because they're going over for a reboot. Reet saying, hey, don't leave my weaponry behind, and they're now trying to get a disengage, knowing that, hey, they're not quite so sure what's inside the lake. The observers did a great job of showing us that the reboot was right there, but we also heard some players take to the sky and rotate away, so they might be happy with what they got. But Riverson and Co are looking directly at that reboot pin. They're staring at it, maybe not necessarily looking in that direction right now, but you can see the triangles who should be able to catch this rotation. And yep, they're going to start spraying some shots down there. And you see Midi, Nico, and Kaboo, they recognize, hey, one knock was already there. If they hear that, I mean, this is going to be such a hard reboot to stick. They're going to have to overinvest metal material. And you would think that the rest of the lobby isn't going to let this happen when they are right on the edge of the zone, with so many cheers are coming through. But do you believe in miracles? I mean, don't even need one right now. Everyone left and looked the wrong direction. There were 3 teams boxed up staring directly at that van, and everyone was like, no, we're good.
But luckily, Poffy, Clips, and Sides are able to see that. It's lucky for them, unlucky for Fabs, Reet, and Snacky. And Fabs are just taking down really low, taking all the way down they go. Is it worth it? Was it worth it in the end? Getting Reet up for you to go down? That is the question we will answer here momentarily. Poffy trying to go aggressive. Will they find Reet? Will they find Snacky? Looks like they're going to do, as Reet's going to go down pretty low, down to very low HP, but Snacky's there to back him up. Poffy running out of builds? No. Just able to build there for a moment. Will have enough HP to keep going, but Snacky and Reet have dipped down inside. They have a little bit of room to breathe, but they're running out of it. Luckily enough for them, zone pool's on top of them. They're gonna have to make a play for a refresh though, because they can't keep going on like this.
No, and Storm Surge is going to end up being a problem here. They've spent this entire time when they could have potentially been looking for tags, looking for trades, just trying to rotate into the zone. Honestly, that felt a little bit greedy, right? Like, they had gotten the reboot up, they could have taken a second to get together, but instead Favs kind of pushed out ahead, was using just the wooden builds, and he pushed directly into the one team that was still looking at him. If they'd taken a second and kind of gotten stock of their situation, they might have just been able to walk into zone. But now you can see Reet and Snacky being forced to make a play, trying to find the right hand. 74 damage comes through, but Snacky gets instantly obliterated. And right now, their saving grace is the fact that they got +5 points. But you talk about needing an opening, needing an opportunity. Well, as we open the second chapter here in NA West. Those leaders, they stumble a little bit. They fall. They're not quite on their face, but there's a hitch in their step that wasn't there yesterday. Only a +5 game, far and away their worst game so far, and it's at the hands of Scissor, Coffee, and Eclipse, who are going to pick up 2 of them. But ultimately, it came down to that awkward Storm Surge fight that they had on the other side of the zone against Midi, and then them rotating and hawking that reboot van. So now my question is, right, if we're looking at the overall story of NA West and following just what's been going on in the region as a whole for the past year, what's going on with Epic Whale, Arkham, and Rex? We saw them pick up a confirmation on the shallow. We know they've gotten at least that +5 points. If they're in a position to immediately make up ground here, a victory royale with some eliminations, they could cut that lead in half. It could happen right now.
It could, and this is where everybody that's in that top 5 has to just stay up and look for these points, because Arkham, Epic Well, and Rex are the kings of seizing opportunities. They're above Surge as well, albeit not much, but that's enough for them right now. Will they pull half in, half out?
Doesn't super matter. I would say, like, yeah, that I was about to say the only pull that really is super unfortunate for them is basically a direct opposite side. They did end up getting that, but because they're on the high ground here, you can anticipate one of those trios underneath you is going to use a launch pad. If they have one, they're going to wait a second to see if somebody else burns one around them, but it's a little bit of a game of chicken, right? It's like, well, somebody has to go, and the team that has to go is not the team on top. They can chill and wait forever. They can wait and place that last launch pad if they really need to put it down. We do end up dropping below 50 players. Storm Surge will turn off, so a quick little exchange going on there. But the thing is, there's already so many teams on that northern side of the zone because of the water and because of the formation of the land around this circle that going too late, you could end up with just a ton of rifles looking at you, and you can actually see a pad being set up over on the side, and they're going to try and get whatever shots they can on the players going, and that should have been a recycle. It looked like Arkham placed his own pad, though, and went over towards the side. I'm going to go back and double check that in my own bot, or maybe the analysts can let us know, but they're going to try and get together. We do see, again, over-indexing on the heels by a significant amount. 4 floppers in Epic Whale's inventory there. See Jelty hip-to-hip with Krizix, but no eyes on their other trio mate. Looks like they're just like a duo. You can see Riverson has been separated from Caleb and Tautai. Caleb and Tautai are the ones who own the high ground. Riverson just kind of poking around on the low ground, though.
This is going to be probably one of the most interesting games of these 6 that we've seen now, this being the 7th, because it is the first time where that first place is up for grabs. If Symmetrical, Temple, and Wavy Jacob can do it, they'll move in. Again, they were only 30 points off the pace, and we know that there's already 5 points shared, so 24 more points they need to grab, which is more than feasible for them. As long as they get to top 5 with a couple of eliminations here and there, they will be fine. But they're being a little greedy there, opening that headed up, looking for players and tags onto these people. But look where that zone's going.
I mean, this is the shooting right here, right? This is the first time we've had kind of that top leaderboard spot drop super early on. Again, only the +5 points coming through for just making into the top 24. They dealt with Storm Surge problems. It's something we saw happen to Rex, Arkham, and Epic Whale. But the question is who capitalizes on it, right? We could realistically see Wavy Jacob and Co's team sneak right into first place, and then all of a sudden, the entire leaderboard is opened up. But regardless, that massive lead that was there before, we talk about the level of consistency and why it was so nuts in Europe. That's because it never dropped. Well, here now, game 7, if you're Mr. Consistent and it goes away once, all of a sudden there's a little bit of a chink in your armor. And if you know anything about chainmail, once there's one chink, you better repair that link, because you're only as strong as your weakest link, and you don't want to be sent goodbye here. It's not a game show. We're playing for tons of money in the FNCS. We're playing for the Axe of Champions. Symmetrical is playing for keeps as well, as he's going to get the Elam onto Kono. We're into the top 17. He's boxed up just above them. Temple and Wavy Jacob trying to catch up again next to him. Arthur going down, but going to get the revive off Epic Whale. Will be able to stick, and he gets a ramp up right didn't even sweat. They have tons of floppers and the chunk smashes. We talked about them over-indexing on heals. This is potentially why, making sure they're hip to hip and going to try and execute on a low pad. Good job putting the edited cone out in front of them to make sure they didn't bonk their heads above, but now they need to make sure they land on top of each other as we're going to zoom back on in, looking to grab up that first place spot. Temple, Wavy Jacob, Counter Logic Gaming, Symmetrical. Temple doing all of the work right now. 4 eliminations on the board.
Not a lot of mats, so having to split it all back. Surge is active on so many different trios in the lobby. 8 players effectively getting hit. Where are the reigning champions? Right in the middle of your screen. That's who you're looking at. Middle of the top middle of the screen as well. That's Symmetrical. That's your second place. High ground looking good. All the way on low ground now is going to be Arkham, Epic Whale, and Rex. This is a dominant position for them, and if they can manage to just grab some space and grab a couple elims here or there, they're going to win this game. With the shots coming through, that's going to be Poffy going down, and they are in third place. So fourth picking out third is so big. That's the Siphon coming through. That's going to be Epic Whale's second elimination, going in for any extra match that they can find, and they have a lot of them there. They're running out of time to grab this space, so that elim let other players get in front of them, and I like they're going together. They are staying box to box. They are not making moves without each other, but look who that team was that ended up cutting them off there. It's going to be Symmetrical, Temple, and Wavy Jacob. Rex, Arkham, Epic Whale do end up getting back. They're going all the way into zone to secure this. Eclipse going down. Rex getting one more elimination. What more can they find?
Looking for more, looking for confirmations. Wavy Jacob finding one on the Bumboy, but Temple hops into the wrong area. The Temple guard was there, didn't have a silver medallion to get him, so he gets yoinked back, leaving his partner to try and run it out. It's Symmetrical now, but it's Epic Whale dropping Wavy Jacob. Hey, you want to talk leaderboard impacting? They say first place is down. We'll take care of second and third ourselves. They get knocks and confirmations on both of those trios. Midi still up on his feet as well, but working top down. It's another veteran group. Caleb and Tautside adding the firepower. Riverson and Symmetrical opens up an edit, and he said, surprise, it's the scariest thing I've seen on Halloween there. So he gets absolutely bopped, but so far, 8 eliminations. Rex, Arkham, Epic Whale finding some room, already giving up the floppers to try and index for the heal. They're looking for a W, but this change in verticality is going to be brutal for the low ground team. They have to go up, and they have to go up now. If they don't end up changing layers, they can end up pinned against the ground, and this is what's happening on the backside. Rex ends up picking up Krizik's. Chelsea finds one, finds 2. Can he get the confirmation? Needs to find the siphons, but he drops down an extra layer. Will it come through? No! He gets bopped instead, and now on the low ground, the slight change in verticality. Epic Whale looking for a challenge as Arkham ends up going up. Rex is already gets the 100 tag. No way! To get the siphon. He has 12 more maps, but he has no more room. He's pushing up into it. How well do you build? Trying to get the cover 90 push up. He finds some side. Epic Whale so close, but so far. Arkham picks up 2 for himself, but Caleb, Tautai, and Riverson take match number 1 here on day 2. Match 7 overall, but the real story. Reed, Favs, and Snacky go down early for the first time, only +5 points. That monstrous lead, whatever it was, is going to go like this. And we're going to kick it on over to the desk. Zeke, Kelly, Panda, show us what's up.
What's going on, guys? Thank you so much. Great first game on the day. My goodness. There's so much to unpack here. I mean, of course, Reet and that trio go down early, which just completely blows this game wide open, right? Even in this just few moments, you've got Jelty, who made it in that top 5. You've got Arkham, Rex, and Epic Whale with 10 eliminations that make it into your top 5. And of course, Caleb, Riverson, and Tautai do pick up the Victory Royale with a handful of eliminations. This is good for them. But again, Arkham, Rex, and Epic Whale, they might have just come online.
And I can only imagine if that zone was just a little different, if it didn't go up the hill, that could have easily been Arkham, Rex, and Epic Whale's game right there. I'm wondering if I can talk to production about my predictions, because that was looking a little rough, especially for you, Panda.
All right, look, we're going to go ahead and change her prediction here. She's clearly cursed, Reed, Favs, and Snacky, but it's okay. She officially changed it. You heard it here. The curse is lifted. It's okay. They're coming back here in game number 8. I see it. But look, them going down early is impactful. But we got to talk about exactly how they went down, because this is really important to remember, right? Obviously, you see the fight here. They take a good fight. They end up kind of disengaging from the site, but not until they had lost Reet. So they get Reet's resources. They kind of gather themselves in Snacky and Favs. They separate from Nico and Hashira, right? And then it's about rebooting Reet, right? It's about getting Reet back in the game. So they take this chance here, and it's pretty risky, right? They didn't wait until the builds were fully built. And immediately, as soon as the reboot went off, the lobby started paying attention. And this is where you see the fall begin to happen as Favs ends up getting taken out first, now leaving Snacky and Reet by themselves.
And you can tell that Favs' team was a little nervous. They saw Zone coming in. They could have just gone south a little bit where it was more of a dead side rotation, but instead they just went right into the middle of the pack. They already saw that there were so many teams there. So unfortunately, they kind of were a little, I don't want to say sloppy, but they just made some wrong plays there and did go down early. Now 235 points to Symmetrical's 232. That incredible lead they had. Now, as Cam loves to say, the shoopening has begun.
But let's just mention, okay, they're still 41 points ahead of Arkham, Rex, and Epic Whale. So, look, there you go. There's your throwaway game. That's it, guys. Lock it in. That's it. Game 8, Game 9, Game 10, and every game after, I should say. Focus up. This is your opportunity. But there's a lot of opportunity on this board because even teams like Chicken, Kytrex, and Mechton, they're not too far out of the top 10 and can easily find themselves climbing up.
Also, Caleb, Riverson, and Taotai, who were in 23rd place before that game with only 62 points, jumping all the way up to 15th spot, now 108 points. And that just shows that someone might have a dominant lead. Someone might be the team to beat, but one small misstep, one wrong play, and the leaderboards look completely different. So with game number 8 on the way, I can imagine that we're going to be seeing our leaders, Reet, Favs, and Snacky, changing up their plans a little bit. It wasn't even like what they typically fell for in the qualifiers and semifinals, which was over aggression. That isn't what we saw there. It was, I don't even really know. I don't know.
I think maybe it was a bit of a misplay with that fight. I think taking that fight on the edge of zone, they knew that they needed surge tags. It was a bit of a risk in itself, right? But if they had better prepared themselves for surge leading up to that moment, we wouldn't have seen that happen. So hopefully they identify that, they make those corrections to the gameplay, and they continue on because they still have 5 more opportunities. 1 game away, that's okay. You know what? They're allowed to have a throw game after yesterday, but you can't afford any more.
Yeah, I do have to agree and say that that is really what it was. It was the Storm Surge tags. I think that got them a little nervous. We saw that they were only 20 points above and then below even after Reet went down there. So maybe it's because no one's trying to get next to them in the corny crops. Maybe it's just they were too confident and they went into Zone 3 thinking that they were going to be easily able to do something with it. But you know what? That's just 1 game. We still have 5 more to go.
Friends, I don't know. They started with a 90-point lead today over Arkham Rex and Epic Whale. And after that game, the shoop that Sundown has so rightfully coined, I don't know. But remember, again, they fell early, right? So maybe if they hang on, they start directly impacting the rest of the lobby. The lobby's like, oh, they're still here. We can't operate as freely as we want to but now because they're still alive. We'll have to see. That was just the first few games. We have 5 more. Things might be okay. Kelly may have cursed us. Sundown, play over to you. Good luck. She cursed us.
It's the time of the year for curses, but I don't necessarily believe in them. Like we've talked about before on the cast, similar to trains and angels that go one direction and it's inevitable. Since Panda called it out, since he, was sitting there talking all that trash, he was like, look, Epic Whale and Arkham are outside the top 10. Well, they pushed up into 10th, then they pushed into 7th, then they pushed into 4th, then they pushed into 3rd. And now, too, let's call it out, Clay. I mean, Zeke's prediction of the field is looking nice because Symmetrical has been playing real well.
They really have. And we talked about them a little bit yesterday and how they're a snowball team. They build on this momentum that they get, and if they get it early, they keep going. And if you've never pushed a snowball down a hill, as it keeps going, it gets bigger and bigger, it's not going to be able to be stopped. So that's what they are. They've got to keep it going. And within 3 points, they see that that's going to be so much motivation here for them to just keep playing the game they've played every game before that. Uncontested Dirty Docks as well. Going to net them a lot of loot. It's a great setup.
And something to note, too, because we talk about inevitabilities, things that just kind of happen sometimes in the NA West Finals. Epic Whale, Arkham, and Rex haven't won a game yet, right? So I don't want to say that like that's a shoo-in, but over the course of 12 games, I generally expect them to win at least one, right? And assuming they get a lower amount of elims, let's call it 5, right? That's still another 40 points that's unaccounted for on them. So you can see a solid split coming out. Again, Dirty Dogs uncontested, plenty of room. Only 30 teams coming through. We have had one full trio wipe right off the start. So coin flip not necessarily going their way this time on the drop spots. And with 5 matches left, still plenty of moving and shaking to be done. And we've seen that with the exception of EU, nobody has really been quite infallible yet.
Everyone has that moment where they could fall for a first place trio. Keep our eyes on them again, and they went out just after that initial set of placement points. So this could be another game where if they get a little bit too aggressive, they fall as well. Shots coming right through. Tricks, it's an amazing theme there, taking that player down from 200 HP to 30 in just a matter of 2 seconds. Bolts, not even 30, 10 HP. What a great shot. And this is not a fight they can really afford to take anymore.
Yeah, but we saw them finally pull away from the stealthy fight over with Ranger. No W plays of Vanillas. They had enough of that third party coming over the hill from Jaguar. It's just not a situation where if you're not winning cleanly against Ranger and no W, and then you also have Jaguar Mojo just pushing like pretty much every single game over the top, it's really tough to get anything going. Like we've seen Lucky Pump Bolts in 2006 where if they're able to get in the mid game, they can make plays, right? Like never have the shields and the loot when you're stuck, always trying to just scramble, get a reboot, find a little bit of room to just get something going. Maybe you switch the drop spots off. And unfortunately for them, what would normally be a relatively deserted area of the map, for some reason on West, we've pulled like 3 or 4 teams down towards this like crash site / lazy lake / misty meadows area. And it's just way overpopulated.
Moving over Dubs, McLovin trying to outstand the pressure of Antrax, G5RC now too, who we saw do. They had an okay first start to yesterday, and then I believe finished in the middle of the pack around 20th place overall. So a 30-point game from them right away is great to see. With I believe an 8th place jump there from Riverson, Caleb, and Taltai. It's definitely possible. Again, if first place goes down and the lead doesn't get increased, it's possible for any of these trios really to start to make their comeback as long as they're, I would say, within that top 15 really now. This team's sitting at the 15th spot. That's Taltai, Caleb, and Riverson, however, but How2 Interaction G5RC don't want to let this fight go. And they're rewarded a little bit more time because this is 2 different scavenger route trios coming together. No one's really going to be coming from Misty. No one's going to be coming from Sludgy. No one's going to come from Lazy over here because these trios have already come from those directions.
And trying to burn down the car, utilize the explosion to create a little bit of environmental damage, potentially open up a gap. You see Altu is even just gonna, drive into the wall, get a little bit of collateral damage, move that car closer. So again, they can force some of the hard mats out, forcing the team to not build with the wood, which again, teams prefer to do in these circumstances because it's easily refarmable, but forcing them to invest a little bit more, and that's a lot of metal to be putting up right next to the gasket. Immediately gonna have to throw it back up, and unfortunately though this fight has dragged out so long, there's a couple other tracers coming in. They need to be careful what's happening on the back. Altu actually gonna about face and recognize that some shots came in from over there. He's gonna inform his team of that, and they're gonna have to make a decision here, Clay, and unfortunately for them, it's not really a great one.
You can go back to the south, but then you're giving up so much ground. You can go to the east, but you run the risk of fighting that yellow triangle team of Bolt, Lucky, in 2006 born. You can try to dip to the west, but then everyone's going to have that natural high ground on you, so you don't really have, like you said, the best options. You're really stuck in a hard place, and now with everybody starting to congregate around them, this makes it even harder because everywhere you could have gone is now going to start to be occupied.
Yeah, and this is a very popular spot for good reason. Like, there's generally a lot to refarm here very quickly at the gas station. This chain link fence, plus a nice little opportunity to get some fruit, maybe some floppers out of the cash register that's right over there. But if there's already teams posted up in this area, rotating past is really obnoxious because it's basically steep change in verticality, flat plateau. Steep change in verticality, flat plateau. Steep change in verticality, flat plateau. And on top of each one of those steep changes in verticality, there's going to be a team posted up. You can already kind of see it in the bottom right-hand corner where you have so many different those colored triangles on top of each other. And now you've invested so many mats in here, and so does your opponents, that even if you eliminate them, your mat count's not going to look great.
Oh, you really wanted this fight to end about 2 minutes ago. This is a fight that's gone on now too long, and it was okay because again no one was rotating in, but now it's not. What's okay to see in defeat if you're rooting for them is Arkram, and a fight is going to get the elimination there. To be right on top of that, 50 cal fruit going to go down. Delta going to go down as well. Now only Alex remaining. This is what we want to see. This is the dominance we know of them, and they wipe a trio within 45 seconds. They're back, and hey, even if this trio does come in, even if these arrows do want to commit, they are fine. It doesn't matter. Look how quickly they are back, ready to go. Arkram, Epicwell, and Rex have had a fire lit within them, and now they're looking to just keep climbing the leaderboards. And for Jelty, Andy, and Krizix, they've got to be very careful because if they get a shield break, I don't think they're going to stop going.
Yeah, and again, something we've talked about, that when they get eliminations, they get these refreshes, they will then utilize the resources. So now they're like, okay, how many extra minis do we have? How many extra big spots, chug splashes? Like, you see, they're doing it now. They're dividing it out, and they're like, okay, can we rotate? Can we go potentially get aggressive on someone? Can we use some of these extra mats and go? And one thing I kind of have to ask the general question, especially in that costume, I feel like Beat of Sweat probably just ran down Panda's face right now, you know? Just a little bit. He was sitting there. He had that chest all puffed out. He was talking real big. I'll give him that. At least he said it with his whole chest. But right as I talked about that, Snacky actually getting a little bit of revenge for the past game. He's going to knock and a confirmation there onto Midi. So he'll take that fight back, and he'll say, well, Sundown, maybe Panda deserves to kind of puff out his chest a little bit. We still got a little bit of swagger. They are 3 points clear. Symmetrical, Wavy, Jacob, and this trio. But also keep an eye on the winners here as the fight, again, still wall-to-wall. Snacky and Fabs trying to get onto Salco, Mojo, and Defiable. That's another trio who's boxed up directly on top of them. Reet, though, lots of effective HP down. However, Fabs' inventory looks fantastic. Wall-to-wall, 87. Huge tag.
They're going to keep that pressure up with that legendary SMG, trying to grab all of the extra. Again, they are going for the min-max on the loot as well. Can we grab that pepper? Can anybody grab these extra mats here? No, they're going to go back. And honestly, if they can get Wavy Jacob to keep their focus on Salco, Defiable, and Mojo, they can get those eliminations. But if once that pressure swaps off, once it goes on to Reet, Snacky, and Fabs, again, that pressure, the firepower goes away. Their lead loses. And we saw that last game, and I wonder what their surge looks like. If that's where they're pushing again, that's why they went for Midi. I wonder if they're above it. This team nearby is below it. Are they above it? Is that why they're playing defensive?
Where are Midi's teammates? Like, what? I'm very confused as that there's a whole trio over on the side, unless that was the last part of the knock and Salco and Defiable ended up coming and cleaning it up. Just an awkward situation for them to only be able to pick up one Elim, because normally one Elim you'd feel pretty comfortable with that being over. If people are really looking, you might not 100% be guaranteed. And also the fact we got pushed back, so they didn't necessarily have the time to bin max on it. However, the high ground pressure that you were talking about is automatic relief now, as Wavy, Jacob, Temple, and Symmetrical are going to rotate. They're going to get on and head towards the zone. Unfortunately, Symmetrical eats headshots from both sides, so real quick, just trying to get his 5 skill on, spin around as fast as he can, throw a box in his face, and be like, all right. Luckily, got some big pots there. He'll be fine.
That hurts. Have to use the big pot that early, but what's gonna hurt more is the zone. We're going to the mountains, not the highest mountain in the game, but one of them, and there's a lot more smaller elevations around this side than the one over by Caddy. Caddy is steep. Caddy is an instant incline. Misty, more gradual, but there's a lot more of it all around. A Symmetrical, Wavy, Jacob, and Temple will set up on top of one of these destroyed saucers. trying to look for any sort of tags because it seems like they're not comfortable with their Storm Surge levels, and Symmetrical is going to take unnecessary again. As we move through, though, I was going to say, I don't know if they don't have big shields or they're waiting to use them because they're rotating through. I definitely think now seeing the inventory, they're just going to chug splash it back up once they get inside zone. But well above Surge, they're up. They're just on the outside edge of that initial placement points. This is where they fell last time.
Yeah, one might say the perfect amount above Surge. Everyone out there, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you celebrate safe and responsibly. Don't eat too much candy. And again, if you have to ask yourself, do I need that extra bite? The answer is probably no. It's a lot of sugar. Trust me, it'll last for a while. It'll be okay. This is coming from somebody who sat there for a while with a couple of 5-pound bags worth of candy next to their desk. Just take it slow. It's okay. It's not worth the stomach ache. We see the quick stat on the left-hand side. Riversun's trio doing a fantastic job in terms of converting on eliminations where it matters and against those key trios and being able to pick it up. And right now, exerting good Storm Surge pressure control. You see that coming in, being able to about face. And I think something else that needs to be said about Riversun is it can't be stressed enough, his versatility in terms of plugging in with other duos, other players, and still being able to find success. He found success when he moved over to East. He found success when he came back over to West. Seems like every single FNCS we see him in the final with a different duo surrounding him.
And they mount a good performance on the side of Bumboy, Jagger, and Bat. 6th place out. That means they've got a chance to keep moving up. And again, we stress every single finals. It's about that first place, and it is. But for everybody else, it's about making it into the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, where those prize, where that prize money rather, it just is a little bit more as Andy, Physics, and Jelthy getting pressured by Surge and another team on the other side. Looks like they may fall down here. Physics able to get a couple minis off there. Andy trying to pop some big shields, but doesn't look like this team is going to let them go. Krizix is getting a lot of shields off. Andy going to fall. Not much they can do. Krizix can only take 3 more tags of that Surge. Going to be above 52 effective HP. Going for the edit still, but honestly, he's got to go for the revive. I don't know if they're going to let him, and I'm glad that he didn't immediately go for it, because you saw immediately somebody said, hey, no confirmation on that elimination, got the siphon. But somehow Krizix is still up.
2 HP, 50 shield, a little bit of space, trying to disengage and create some more. Looks like he's finally able to work around the side. If he does have time to get the med kit up, he should be able to hold on, but the 5 placement points haven't even come through yet. Storm Surge has turned off, but we still have 25 trios up on their feet, so number of solos and duos doing their best to just try and hang on, get the kind of first round of placement points, at least tick that box off in this game. As you see, Kimchi will end up getting taken down. 69 players left now as Krizix is just trying to avoid, but unfortunately for him, he has to move. He has to go. The zone is at his back. This is going to be taken up. You can see trying to find a right hand, does end up trading out a 50+ shot. It's a charge on the opposite side of it, so he knows he's able to isolate that player, potentially win a box-to-box fight, but if you take one wrong step against that charged up charge with 150 HP, you are not long for this game. He gets sent back to lobby rather violently there.
2nd place and 1st place right on top of each other. 2nd place always prioritizing that high ground early, and then we don't really see him go for it later. They would definitely if they had the opportunity, knowing Symmetrical. Wavy Jacob operates in those low ground, mid ground, chaotic environments so well. I mean, but also at the same time, he was one of those players that seasons ago with his whole teammates would pop off on high ground, would find it if they had it and win it with it when they did. But now finally in a trio, I feel like that fits their playstyle just a little bit more. With Temple and Symmetrical, they're able to play everybody's playstyle in one. We get a nice 3-box there. On the top is our 2nd place team of Wavy Jacob, Temple, and Symmetrical. Bottom left is going to be Reek, Fabs, and Snacky. That is going to be our 1st place trio. And bottom right is the defending FNCS champions for 4 straight seasons. They are in 3rd place.
Epic Whale trying to make his name NRG. Epic Whale 6x. Yes, they are 4 times in a row defending champs, but they're all each individually also 5-time champs, with a duo and a solo being picked up by the split parts of the trio. Again, none of them are slouches in any one of the game modes. You can see no W play being no slouch, and honestly, Noah and Ranger have really impressed me playing at this level. I wasn't necessarily sure whether they'd be able to come into the finals and execute on the same part, but not only have they been able to win a game, but they've forced people away from the drop spot. They've been making these end games rotations, and they've been sticking together and playing hip to hip. It's been very well done, but we see that's the first place team rotating and second place team taking pot shots away. Actually, no, I think the angles are slightly off. Yep, I lied. They're taking shots at somebody else. Snacky and Reed are just going to be able to kind of tarp their way in. However, now they're pincered between 2 teams, so if they do get lobby chosen, things can get interesting very fast, as the observers are going to give us a nice little wide shot. You can see where the 4X are standing over on the side. Quinn and Co, though, have a nice little view over the top of the lobby. Let's take a peek and see what's going on, as they are going to pop one of those chili chug splashes as a group and just head right towards the edge of the zone. You can see where they have it marked out, Clay. They want the priority positioning right on top of this little gazebo, but they need to be careful, as Antrax and his trio posted up directly underneath it and farming it out very quickly.
They invest a lot of metal, but it seems worth it. They're above Surge, and with half in, half out, right over Misty Meadows, anybody could pull this zone. Anybody could grab it. We'll find out in 40 seconds. And luckily, again, their early aggression is going to solve one of their biggest issues from yesterday, Storm Surge.
Yeah, need to avoid that pressure coming down right away, but we can see wall to wall here, potentially looking for a fight. Informer out of shields, and you know what? This might not necessarily be the worst fight here, but you see on the right-hand side, there's going to be a lot of trios impacted by the Storm Surge. We still have 66 players up. That's 8 trios who are going to end up getting hit by it. Symmetrical goes down. That's Nitrix, and they pick it up. We're going to switch over. Wavy Jacob also being knocked. It's just on Temple, and all of a sudden, second place might be taken out here with only the +5. No additional elims. Temple looking for a little bit of room, but a fight happening underneath. That's Mojo going up against Salco and Defiable. Or no, Mojo trying to make some room. That's Nitra, Cockle, and Angel on the other side of this. Keto gets the vote. Temple ends up dropping down. He's trying to isolate himself into a 1v1, but instead just finds a little bit of room, utilizes the chug splashes, and the rotation is going to drop the zone right to the side of Epic Whale, Arkham, and Co. So they should be fine over there, but Temple fine in terms of Storm Surge, not fine in terms of basically everything else.
Literally everything else is not going in this man's favor. He needs to grab, and honestly, popping a big shield for 25 HP for him, I think is worth it, because as a solo, you're not really going to have time in this moment to get that off. So get as much HP as you can. And they hear these surge tags coming through. They hear these shields cracking. All they got to do is get a couple tags onto this, and boom, they're back into this. That's going to be Buzzro falling down there. Temple will hear that elimination come through, but not able to capitalize on it as Oka just on the other side. This is perfect for Temple. If Oka decides to go aggressive into him, that's a free elim, gets all this loot back, and they need it for Surge as well. Only now 96 above. Next zone is going to be that much harder, and boom, they're going for it. They're going, trying to get into this player's box, try to find them before Surge. All they find is loot, and oh, what a little greedy loot goblin, but honestly, the perfect one.
Yeah, it sounds like he had heard the recycle pad and was able to dip back on in. We do still have one full trio getting hit by that Storm Surge due to 51 players above. Let's kind of take a look and see who's still where. Rex, Epic Whale, and Arkham trying to scout out, see what's going on all the way up on the high ground. It's high, but not too high. Definitely launch pad takeable right now. Chicken Mech and that Kytrex very low on shields. Looks like they were the subject of that Storm Surge for a while, but Oka will end up going down, turning it off there. So 5th zone, house close. We're into the full moving zone here in match number 8. We'll have 4 more after this. We can see our current leaders, they're looking to potentially go up for the high ground. They have the pad set. They're looking ready to go. They're pinging it out. They're saying, hey guys, we can take advantage of them. The chili chug splash is going to get ready. It's either going to be a pad or it's going to be a chili chug splash into a quick take. What will the answer be? As we see Epic Whale, Arkham Rex trying to get a triple spray down, but not necessarily finding success yet. Still sitting on the number of elims. We aren't into the cascading placement points yet. One more trio will need to fall, but look at the zone, Clay. We're pulling back towards Misty.
A lot of old builds coming through. Are going to go for
Here
the
they
high
go.
ground there. They are landing on top of it, but the question is, do they continue to fight for it there? We got to hop up there just to see Temple 108 below. We know there's not much they're going to be able to do unless they find a lot of damage like that right there. Looks like the high ground fight has subsided. I don't see any names in the feed, but who is the one that came out on top? Who ended up taking it? It's still going to be Kytrex, Chicken, and Mekton. They dissuaded the pressure from now, but it's still a launch pad's worth of height away. You see everybody nearby launching for it. Reet wants it. They're trying to look for it. They're going to get it down. They're going to knock somebody up on a high ground. It's going to be Kytrex going down to Snacky, and just like that, there's the Chili Chug Splashes. There's high ground coming through, and now they have control.
They have control, but they're also still dangerously below Surge. Yeah, just now being able to tick back above with the confirmation. But if challenges don't come out and players actually dip down, they're going to be in trouble because that Surge number is absolutely going to be driven upwards here in a little bit. You can see now somebody else below Surge, and they got a minute. No, as I say, they don't have a minute. The Surge is going to come through, and it's going to come through right now. We are in that 7 zone. You can see it happening in the bottom right-hand corner. There's 25 damage, 33 below. Needs to start finding tags. He opens it up. He finds the tags, but he finds some back in return. Chug splashes from his teammate, topping Arkham off, and a great decision there to open up and trade a little bit of HP. Snacky, though, going to find a knock in the feed onto one of the user players. Can they convert into more? We have our top 17. Placement points are now going to start coming through on the high ground. Fabs, Reed, and Snacky, and you see Storm Surge not hitting them anymore. On the low ground, trying to keep an eye on Epic Will, Arkham, and Rex. See if that number ends up going through. And Arkham takes a ton of damage, but he gets a knock and a confirmation onto Dog, so that's going to end up being huge. They're well above Storm Surge now. Do have to eat a couple Chug Splashes and a flop, but Arkham, that's third elimination. They're up to 5 total, 67 points now, so we're into the 14. Top 30, so Storm Surge will drop, but this zone pulling back away, and oh, it just bounced away from the craft site. If it had pulled through, it would have been near impossible for any of these teams to rotate. But Vanillas goes down, and Arkham finds his 4th, up to now 7 for the trio.
They really got to do something, though, about Reed still being in this game. Again, every point they get, doesn't matter if Reed and them are there. They just have to out-frag at this point. Beautiful shots together there, but Arkham and Epic Whale are playing outside edge of zone. Gonna go down because of it. Epic Whale in the zone does have floppers, does have the Chug Splashes. His teammate Rex going to be right above him. Arkham will fall to Poppy. What a big elimination there, but third place is right around the, or rather second place is right around the corner. They can take it from Symmetrical, Temple, and Wavy Jacob, but first place up above looks to secure it. But if they're not getting elims, that lead still gets cut into. That lead still can get taken away. Arkham, we're not going to be able to do anything there. Epic Whale and Rex have to try to fight hip to hip, box to box, and move together, think together. They need these elims because look up above, only 4 elims. They don't have as many points. Again, this is great for Arkham, Epic Whale, and Rex, as we see Rex having 2, Arkham with 5, Epic Whale with 1. They are operating on this low ground. They have it secured out. Not a lot of builds remaining. They're going to have to find a refresh, and they're going to have to find it soon. 40R looks to be the one they could do it on. Puffy, Eclipse, and Sizer are just too far up above.
Yeah, but they have the ultimate low ground control. Somebody's going to have to drop it. And actually, Eclipse is looking to potentially chop. But as I say that, we'll get the edit going on, trying to own a little bit of space as we are going to go up just a little bit jutting the hill. You can see Epic World trying to adjust the layer here. This is where they will run into 40R Storm in a second as Zone is pulling just over the side. Reek going to find a first, second knock, maybe even a third in the feed there, as all of a sudden they went from 4 elims right up to 7. If they get the confirmations on there, that should be 8 ticking over as well. Boom, there it goes, 8 and 9. Why not make it 10?
No.
But instead, Reek gets taken down. It's just me and Snacky and Babs, and they might be able to pick up a bunch of eliminations. Snacky ends up getting it. He's fighting, though, in the zone, needs to get the siphon. Will push through, and he gets not 1, but 2 siphons tick over for him, and all of a sudden, it turns to 12 elims. Rex and Epic Whale, it's a 2v2. They need this win. They need to push through, and they need to find the zone, but Babs is going to be able to get a med kit. They have the Chili Chug Splash as well. Epic Whale trying to find something, and he found it! Epic Whale says, not quite yet. They steal away the victory royale.
Girl, you fly and get her with them brand new high heel stilettos. Smell the rose petals. Heard you a rock star, heavy metal. Well, I'm a pop star. Let's get.
Symmetrical Temple and Wavy Jacob, they dropped down third place, but only off third by 5 points. And again, everybody's looking at that first place spot.
Oh,
what?
Great angle coming out from Symmetrical. Sometimes when you just get a bead like that and the player's not necessarily able to react, whether they're pinned up against the side, you just take a little bit too much. But luckily, again, we kind of talked about why some players opt to run the pistols over the AR. Max damage fall off, so only 20 damage going through the headshot is a 1.5 multiplier. So even with 3 straight headshots, it's still barely enough to kind of break through the mini shield, so a little bit of extra damage. You'll feel happy about it though. That's going to keep them moderately safe from Surge. Swing on over. Our current leaders, they were looking untouchable, but after that, maybe there was a little bit. We saw the first chink in the armor. However, last game, despite not picking up the victory royale, still second place and the highest points earners because of the eliminations that went through. We saw just the absolute scrum that Reet and Favs dropped down to, and I mean, that's where they thrive.
It is. But they've got to just hold the course. Just not be too aggressive. And they've done that. I mean, we saw last game, though, that yes, they did go down because of the need for Surge and other factors there. They got a little bit too over-aggressive, but I haven't seen the read that had made me worried many seasons ago. I haven't seen that read play today or the games yesterday. It's completely different.
He's on a leash. He's on a leash, and Snacky's holding on to it really well. He's been doing a good job. It's something he's known for in his trios, but right now, they need to be careful. We talked about going too early or missed timing, and I was wrong about the zone. We pulled away from the south. We went relatively far north, and it's right over the side, and they dropped down, but now, all of a sudden, 2 different trios looking at him, and Reed, you talk about it, 3 different trios looking at him. Reed, tons of damage going through. Somebody saw a shield break. Snacky also taking a bunch. Numbers are being called out all over the place. They're going to group up, get back together, use some chug splashes, but this is very dangerous. If they're not able to really push out, the other teams are going to be happy with the Storm Surge stacks, but honestly, they need to start shooting at Poffy and Eclipse and try and get some of the other teams to shoot back. And Zinx is going to try and do that by cutting off the space there. Dog and J Roses could potentially look to shift, but you see the tag directly down on top of him. You also see some trees being broken over in the side. So this cluster of 4 trios, 2 of which are in the top 5, 1 of which being the leader. Lots of stuff is going to shake down here, and you can see them now trying to influence the lobby a little bit, trying to throw some shots, but realistically, they have to play a dangerous game because you can only shoot so many times, knowing that there are 4 other trios who have already had a beat on you. We will get a Storm Surge warning and see who is where. 269 below. We'll see if an update ends up coming through, and no update. Nope, yep, there it goes. 581. So Eclipse, Cyberzer, and Poppy, they're going to be fine. Very curious to see Favstreet and Snacky, as well as Epic Whale, Arkham, and Rex, Symmetrical, and Co. If all 3 of them are above, then show us whoever. Yep, there we go. Those guys are above. If our top 3 are all above, then we're good to kind of move on to the next one, and we'll look at people who are below. There we go, 176, and with a decent surge going through here, they should be moderately safe once that number dips into the lower double digits. So you kind of got to start to think about it, which even then, they maybe have the question in their back of the mind is Symmetrical picks up a knock in the feed onto Trix. We'll see if a confirmation comes through. If so, they might start closing in on flipping that second place right back over. Yep, Trix ends up going down. 3 teams now potentially under Storm Surge pressure.
Under Arkham, Epic Whale, and Rex going to do this in game. We saw them play for high, we saw them play low. They were in the mid ground and dropped all the way to low. So I'm excited to watch what they do. But what's even more exciting is that Refaz and Saki are going to pull zone. They get a chance, stop rate. I was going to say they have a hard rotation ahead of them if it doesn't pull their way, but they pull it. So I'm excited to see, are they going to go straight for that high ground again? Or are they going to wait to try to go for that launch pad take as we move over? Symmetrical Triple Wavy Jacob look to find both of the users here as they know they're already weak. And that would be 4 free points for them. Again, reminder, the second place gap was 5 points coming into this game.
See Storm Surge still hitting a trio in the top left-hand corner. 52 players up on their feet. It's over in the distance there. Just towards the zone. Quinn trying to potentially hawk out somebody. He's got the ping down, knowing that there's a potential launch pad. Instead, they're going to low pad, try and get as far ahead. But because they're low padding off of the height situation, they're still going to have a relatively long glide, but good on Symmetrical, Temple, and Wavy Jacob. They're actually just going to opt to walk it, which interesting decision. They're opting not to recycle that low pad, even though they saw it there. Temple going to attempt to throw some shots, but instead they're just going to slide on down the side. It's electric, and they're going to be able to find a good little path towards zone. And I was going to say, it looks like they're attempted to do a high ground take, but Temple probably looked at his hard mats and decided that was a poor decision. Stuck on absolutely nothing. It's up on the high ground. Reet, Favs, and Snacky, they're looking just fine. The question is, where does 6 zone pull? Because if they don't necessarily have the materials, they weren't great on that second zone surge. We haven't seen them throwing out a ton of shots. It could be a tough situation.
And they did it. They went for it early. 66 builds on Reed, dropping him over. Just a little bit there, just to top off his teammates. He won't be the one at the front. Oh. They pull zone. High ground will be theirs for now, but Symmetrical, you can tell, wants it. They could go for it, but you're right. The high ground mat control will not be there for them. They will lose ultimately in that creative fight that will end up happening. Whoever goes for the high ground. Now, where are Arkham, Epic Well, and Rex? They're going to be middle of your screen right now. Observers already know what I was about to say. We're hopping on board with them. Launchpad going to come out. They got to be careful about that team right there opening for a pump, but below now, but it'll update here in a second, and still going to stay below. They're looking for any tags. Only 6 below, but already Sundown, they're looking for that high ground.
looking to go up, trying to see what's above them, looking to about face. They see there's a pad back there. They're actually going to use their own pad. They're going forward to the front. They're only 16 damage above, so instead of going up towards the high ground, they're going to go all the way towards the front. But Snacky pick up a knock onto Krizix. Additionally, we're inside of that top 17, so placement points are going to start ticking over. Snacky gets his confirmation as well. That's the first Elam up on the board, but Fabs is down to just a sliver of HP. You can see him desperately trying to get any amount of shields onto himself. Maybe they have a med kit as well. If not, Chuck Splash is going to have to use bottom right hand corner though. Wavy Jacob finds one, finds two. That's three. No, that's two going over to his trio. That's a duo wipe for them. No, that's three going over. Five going over to Wavy Jacob and his trio in the bottom right hand corner. So a quick 10-point swing as well as a placement point through. So they're going to be happy about that. Arkham in the top part of your screen. We have our first, second, and third trios. We're hopping aboard with second place as they are below Surge, and Surge is ticking onto them. Only 66 below, trying to find some room, but Arkham gets instantly obliterated. He's gone, but Epic Whale will return the favor. However, because it was an insta elimination, he doesn't have the ability to get any extra damage. They're still below Surge. Only one more player will need to go down. There it goes. It will turn off. There won't be another tick, but Epic Whale looking to find the shots. He's currently doing all the work. 3 eliminations for his team, and he is separated from the rest of the duo and up on the high ground yet again. Snacky Wheat and Fabs are saying, let's stretch that lead out a little bit more, boys, as they rain shots from above. Epic Whale on the far right side of your screen. Rex is also with him. Epic Whale finds one, he finds two, and he is just doing everything on the side there. 4 eliminations for him now. As you can see, still just trying to carry it on, and Rex is separated. He's on the backside of the tarp. Team's trying to drop down. Looks like he has no more builds, but Bowser and Snacky, they don't care about builds. They're pulling back over their old one and just raining down shots as we're going to zoom on in. Our current third place trio, they're up to 6 eliminations. Wavy Jacob now trying to do all the work. Is symmetrical. Has been down. They're going to yeet him forward, potentially look to stick a revive or fit someone around the side. Temple going to pick him up. Top 10 trios, 24 players left.
Looks like high ground may win again, but no, Boy, Batman, Booga, Jagger do look to shoot their way up. They do take some shots from him as well. Epic Whale gonna do a lot of damage. What more can he find? Nothing, but the lobby screen is waiting for him right now as Rex looks to try to find any sort of angles, any sort of shots. I like that they went as far front of zone as they could to try to pop this big shield. No one really knows that they're there, luckily. Jackville will drop down, and now they have an opportunity to go for a solo. Hawko going to take a lot of damage, though. Rex on the other side looking to pop the medkit. At one point, that's going to be Jackveer all alone by himself. He does. He gets Jackveer. Can he find any room to operate with the builds that he has? They drop in. Is he going to shot? No! Going to go down. The points are there, but it's not going to be enough. Symmetrical, Wave, and Jacob, Double B still all up as well, but Reed and Wave, everybody operating so well on the high ground. They're dropping on down. They're trying to get Elams, but Wave, Jacob, Symmetrical, and Temple now sitting on 9 eliminations. Another one maybe right here on the other side. Reed will take down Bumboy. Temple going to take down Jackveer on the other side. Nice Elam there for them. Maybe Jacob goes into zone, takes an unnecessary tick, but grabs the extra loot, and Aiden going to take him down from the backside. They do end up getting the elimination, so the point will go over, but now it's a 3v2v1. Batman Booga trying to play spoiler, trying to fight anybody on the high ground, but Reed's going to take them down, and they look to close out this game. A 3v2. It's third place versus first place up above. Temple getting dropped down very low. Symmetrical looks to try to find something. He is going to find Snacky. Can he find another one? Trying to get fast there. He will, but will he get back in the siphon? Will he get the siphon? No! Reed's going to close it out. Reed gets to the dub with 6 eliminations as well.
We're almost there now with a victory royale. They had second place before. They had 3 second places to close yesterday. What an incredible performance from Reed, Fabs, and Snacky taking the victory royale here in match number 9. I mean, it was so good. They blew my hood off. Just absolutely astounding. We're going to kick it on over the desk. Zeke, Kelly, Panda, show us what's up in the last 3 games.
Thank you so much, friends. Absolutely, cast is on point. Just the best. Absolutely great stuff. I can't believe this. Reed, Snacky, Fab, 6 eliminations victory out. Now, of course, the 6 elims is like a little low, but still the fact that Arkham, Rex, and Epic Will did fall a little bit earlier, right? They got the eliminations. They're moving. They're starting to separate themselves once again, Panda. Look, I have to be neutral as the host. Come on, Panda. I got to try and, build this story back and forth. You know what I'm saying? Kelly, why don't we go to you first before we go to Panda?
Well, you brought up 2 incredible teams. They're obviously kind of the 2 main characters of our story, but also Symmetrical's team just dominating on the low ground there, grabbing over 10 eliminations towards the end there. And it does go to the way of Reet and Favs, and you got to kind of look at it being the fact that they do have height. They play that a lot smarter, and obviously they learned from the previous game to not go down too aggressively, have one person stay out on height, so they were able to walk away with that VR. But just like you said, only with a handful of eliminations, which does typically happen from height, but not typically from Reet's team.
Yeah, and this is one thing I'll say. I think a lot of that plays into the actual drop that they have, the early game that they've been able to create for themselves. It ultimately gives them that successful environment throughout the rest of the game, right? Obviously, your early game is so important, looting up, getting what you need, and then going and positioning yourself in zone. They have all of that pretty freely. Now that they fixed the surge issue that we saw them face in game number 1 of the day, I just don't see them slowing down. So it's looking pretty good for the boys.
All right, okay, so we're going to take a look at the standings in just a moment. First, let's use the battle map, an in-game tool, to catch up on how these certain things happen in the early game. Now, keep in mind, we're going to see some yellow lines on the screen. That is the path the players have taken to end up where they were. So, I want you guys to break this down for us. I'm really excited about this battle map.
We're actually going to be using the battle map to break down Reet, Snacky, and Fav's drop. This split is a very unique split that we see here. You actually see, so Favs, or Snacky, and Reet land over here closer to Corny Complex. Now, as the game continues on, you'll see, or you'll wonder, where's Favs, right? Where can Favs be? Well, Favs is actually over in Risky Reels, and we'll look at that in a second. But Snacky and Reet quickly loot up these two different split areas and immediately then go to reconvene with Favs, which finds himself over here in Risky Reels. Now, the important thing to mention in all of this is the pathing. You see this blue line actually shows where Favs flew in. The yellow line represents the way that he moved around the POI and shows genuinely how efficient he was with his time. So looking at this all together, now you have them as a team reconvening just south of Risky Reels and then find themselves towards the convergence. You see all the rotation that they take here around the convergence and ultimately get a really solid position. This is going to be super important to their gameplay and how they remain successful. And here it is. You see why they've been successful so far. 327 points on the board, and a lot of that has to do with that drop.
And of course, a lot of it has to do with that VR that we just got to see, now bumping them up to 2 victory royales. But of course, Symmetrical Temple and Wavy's incredible performance with second place and 11 eliminations, going to be bringing them up to 285 points. And, you know, I have to say it, and this tends to be what happens every NA West, but our top 3 teams are slowly starting to break away from the rest of the pack right now. And to me, the big story is Rex, Arkham, and Epic Whale right here, how they performed yesterday compared to how they performed today. They averaged around 8th. Obviously, we got to see their first 0 game in the finals out of 50 games that we've always seen them play. So definitely having a better day today with an average placement of 4th. But I think that might have gone up a little bit in that last game. For whatever reason, they definitely are having some issues with Storm Surge here. We saw that Reet, Favs, and Snacky were able to kind of fix up that issue from game 7 going into game 8. But Arkham, Rex, and Epic Whale are having a bit of an issue with that, and I'm wondering if that has to do with these zones. Not a lot of west zones. A lot of them are going south and east, so they are known to do their car rotations, able to go into the zone really early. So hopefully they'll do that just a second earlier so that they can box up and grab those tags that they need.
I'm not even worried, right? 3 games left. That's plenty of games so they can come out. Of course, they're right around 50 or so points behind, but that's still 3 games, right? We'll have to see how this continues to unfold. And I really think Symmetrical and his trio can actually make a run at first place, right? It just depends which of these 3 trios falls earlier, what mistakes are made with these 3 remaining games. But that's enough from us for right now. We're putting it back in the hands of Clay and Sundown to take us into the next game.
Thank you so much, Zeke, Panda, and Kelly. 3 matches down today, 3 more to go. 9 through total. Welcome to match number 10 here in NA West. We've seen all other 6 regions have champions crowned. You can see Shallow, Asian Feeds, just a little bit landing to the west side. Gonna hop on board here to see what goes on with the loop path of Arkham, Epic Whale, and Rex over at Believer Beach. So we're gonna fly in on the leaderboard on the left-hand side. My name's Sundown, joined by Clay Stelling, calling all of the action here.
So what do they need to do? I mean, they're pretty far off the pace right now. It's about, I believe, 60 of my masters, me right there, around 60 or so points. So that's just a really good game of Victory Royale with double-digit eliminations. But of course, they need Favs and Snacky to falter, and they've only faltered one game. That's hard. That's a hard and tall order to ask.
Right now, tall order is them winning this fight as well. I actually see Nova say he's going to hop on, do his best Bizzle impression, try and take this guy, get some shots off with that turret. We'll find a 40 tag in the air, just have a little bit of the overheat, so going to wait for that, but we'll be happy with whatever damage he ended up getting off, because didn't end up taking any return. They're going to try and max the damage out onto Oka as he ends up getting taken down, and actually take to the sky to try and chase Buzzer off. So XLR going to try and follow the split. One will go to the right, the other will go to the left, and they'll try and meet back in the middle, and they should be able to tag out where he is. Yep, you can see the shots coming down from the side. XR will pick that up, and that's 2 elims for them.
Great rotation out as well. They're going to be able to get back a little more mats and just a little bit more loot, because they don't got a lot. And this side of the map will have a lot if they go for the fishing route as well. So it's good. I mean, and again, while first place may be out of reach for some of these trios, again, there's still prize money that goes up every placement point that you get at certain thresholds. So it's still worth to play your best Fortnite, to play your best game, because that money is thousands of dollars, and that is life-changing money. So even if you are in 19th place right now, or even if you are in 14th place, you can still get a lot more money if you just keep playing well.
Yeah, nice little upgrades for Jelty there in the form of that legendary assault rifle, as well as a rare lever action shotgun. The format on the left hand side, 30 points for the Victory Royale. Placement threshold starts ticking over at top 17, and you get a first placement point at top 24 for basically making it through the first phase of the game. We are over in NA West. The players are competing for their share of just over $220,000, with the winner getting the lion's share of that, as well as the Axe of Champions and all the clout to say they are the Goliath Destroyers. The quick set on the left hand side, me and Snacky are first and second in individual elims respectively. I want to say no real surprise there.
Not at all. Not with how they're playing. And it's just so interesting to me that this split has not been punished at all. No one has decided to try to take back Risky. No one has decided to take back any part of Corny. Just don't want to do it.
Like, Risky is such a good drop spot, like over by Zate Hill. Like, there's so much available in that area and in between, and like you can almost sustain an entire trio off it and yourself, and generally in a full 33 lobby it's almost expected to, right? And the fact that they're getting all of that plus all of Corny, I mean, as long as they don't get messed up on their Storm Surge tags, there's no reason they shouldn't have the best loot in the game. You can do anything with that split. You basically actually have enough to utilize some of those absurd upgrade prices as well, because there's so many safes and gold and quick quests in the area.
There are, and it's just so much more loot than anyone else is getting. You just have, it seems like, the entire loot pool at your disposal, and they're making it work. We move over to our second place trio, Symmetrical Temple and Wavy Jacob, who leads second place by 14 points. Still well within contention of taking home that first place, but again, they need quite a big task to happen. They need Reet, Favs, and Saki to go down, or at least just have one of them up in those final moments where they can't impact the game the same way. That's hard. We move over to Hydro 16. McLovin just holding on for their life, trying not to be eliminated with what is 10 HP and a dream. They hold on. Batman Booga not going to be able to do so. Is Yumi going to be the one to take him down? Squishy and Kono all by themselves over in Coral. And oh, there's another trio coming in as well. Bumboy really just trying to swim away. As you see that arrow above him now, really needs to use this launch pad to disengage, because that player does not want to let them go right away.
I'm not positive that player knows they're there, and yeah, in fact, those Kono, they actually just ended up trailing them off there, so good job leading them towards the other tree and then saying, nope, I'm out. I was about to say the better situation here might have been to not even swim at all and just sit next to that waterfall, considering he was in kind of a light darker blue outfit. Like, just hope nobody happens to look down and see the shape there, but instead, Defiable will end up picking up Yumi Salko, trying to get on the backside here, but not covering his back and had the edit there, finds the 74 headshot, but will then immediately be returned out. He's giving call outs to Mojo that his teammates are low, but the siphons are going to end up coming through. So Mojo, despite connecting shots, not to be able to find anything. He has tons of builds, but now all of a sudden it's a 3v2 and they've been pushed back a little bit. Yumi is down, so will actually be a 2v2. Defiable and Mojo are able to get together and kind of put the pressure on them. Effectively, they could turn it into a 2v1 if one goes for a revive, but Defiable a little bit careless there. That should have been a situation where it actually had the charge out and would have punished that trade significantly. Instead, forced to pop one of his last two minis. I would not... Oh, never mind, there's extras there. I was going to say, if he pops that last mini for only 5 shield in this situation, that's it's very greed, but they saw plenty of loot still down on the ground, so make a much better decision. That's why we never call out the players and tell the player what to do, i.e. see Zexro pop a bandage. But we will see Reet, Favs, and Snacky trying to tell this other trio what to do. But if anybody's not afraid to take this fight, it's Dog and his trio mates.
They have that same kind of vibe that we did back in the day. Their entire trio has that vibe of, hey, we'll push you. It doesn't matter. If we want these items, we want them. And Zinx is looking for it. If they can catch one, this is where first place is obtainable. If they go down here, if they make a mistake here, well away from placement points, not even first zone close, they have to be careful.
And that's not necessarily being careful. It's not the worst of the world, again, because we kind of talked about the shift in meta this season. If you are just watching for the first time, whether it is on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, watch.fortnite.com, or What's Up Party Royale, hit me with your favorite emote right now. You can see, normally when players walk around the top like that, we're like, what are you doing? Get down, a stray bullet will come through. Well, there's no more of those bolt action sniper rifles. There's no more of those mechanical bows. All of kind of those one shot down, one shot elimination weapons have been pulled out of the loot pool. No more triple grenades, no more clingers. So the worst thing that happens when you poke out there is you have 3 people focus you, and even then these players are good enough to be able to hit that crouch button or back up or throw a roof above them or whatever to avoid really taking that down but not out amount of damage. Seems like we're just chilling, and it might be that it's a little quiet right now, and you're probably wondering, you're like, what are you guys doing? What's going on? Well, this is exactly what's going on. This is what every single trio is doing right now. They have so much time, they have so much room to be able to just look at the sides, and right now you can see they're just raining shots over towards the side, and they're trying to end up putting some shots over. And currently, everyone's just posting up. The zone's dropping right on top of Epic Whale, Arkham, and Rex. And we will get a look in to see the Storm Surge warning here in a little bit.
Where do they position? Are they going to be a little greedy and go for that rotation? Or are they going to play it safe and stay at this hotel? It looks like that's what they're choosing for now. They may move in third zone because, again, that zone more likely going to be concentric there. And, that's why they're staying on the edge. There's not really natural high ground in this zone. There's not really an opportunity for anybody to take it. Yes, maybe on that destroyed dish that we see, maybe the edge by that cliff house, but Believer is one of the better areas right now because they can look at everybody rotating in.
And especially looking towards kind of the top right part of the map on the left side of your screen. Sorry, I know there's a little bit confusing. Look to your left, and then look at all the teams who are going to be forced to rotate towards that right part. Majority of the trios, yes, they are on the bottom side, but most people are going to know that. So they're the only team post up in that northeast. They're going to have great lines of sight. Also, the thing to note with how this zone has pulled, yes, majority of the west coast is water, but zones have a tendency to have a little bit of momentum when they're pulling. So there's a more than likely chance that we keep going a little bit more west or a little bit to the center. It's very rare that it's going to pull all the way back over to the eastern side. It happens in maybe 10 or 15% of the games. So Epic Whale, Arkham, and Rex are going to have an opportunity to pressure these teams right now, but then they're going to be forced to rotate regardless of the situation. So these next moments are going to be very critical for what happens towards the outside part of the map.
75 below for Babu and Nico. They don't have Midi there to help them get that damage. And they were looking on to Reet, Snacky, and Favs to get it. We already see Reet down to 150 HP. We already saw them take a lot of damage and have to invest big shields earlier. So my question is, do they have a lot in their reserves? Do they have enough? And if they don't, are they going to be aggressive for it?
I mean, they're below Surge. They're without Midi, who I don't want to say it's a knock on Kabu or Nico, but I would say Midi is definitely more the playmaker out of this group, the one who's able to kind of hit those big shots when needed. And it's not adding up necessarily in the favorites when you're going to roll the dice and you already know one or two of them are going to come up one. Like, yeah, 6 on the end would bring your average up pretty good, but we're still struggling there. As we do see our current leaders, the question is, how are they doing? We haven't checked in with them in a little while. They are going to send a rotation. They're fine in terms of Storm Surge, so all about positioning, but they're not doing so great on Matt's Clay, which isn't something we've necessarily seen out of them. They're also in a spot where it's going to be really rough to refarm. In addition to that, they're also in this absolute clown fiesta group of trios over on the eastern side of the map. Like, there's like 14 trios stacked on top of each other. Fortunately for them, it's Alex and Co right on the other side, and they're going to be more than comfortable to take this fight if they need to. But it looks like this other team might be underneath Surge, so trying to get some aggressive angles, setting up the right hands so they know they're going to be able to go for it. And yeah, you hear the Surge hitting on the other side. We can hear it. They can't hear that. So they should be able to at least take an advantage fight, knowing that the other team has to go.
Can Favs and Saki just hold on, or will they go for these shots and be a little too aggressive? They want the damage though, and it doesn't matter if you're going aggressive onto a team that has Surge hitting them, because you're almost always going to win that fight. Those are 3 quick illuminations for them, and they are going to get as much match as they need to get back in. You saw the other team decide, maybe, no, never mind. We saw the names, we're not going for it. We don't want to be involved in that. And look, just like that, back up to max materials. They've got a lot of shields as well. 2 launch pads being dropped over. So they're chilling.
Very fortunate for them that the team that Fox up next to him was one who was underneath Surge. They needed that reset, but hey, sometimes you need all of the cards to fall your way. And not only did they fall, they fell right on into their lap, and they placed them up on the table. Nobody noticed. Going to be able to rotate back in the zone. We're going to swing on over. Arkham, Epic Whale, and Rex looking to try and find a little bit of room. Like I said, that zone did pull further towards the western side with a little bit of center spin towards it, so almost no natural high ground in play, and they're going to loop around the backside of the zone. They should find very little amount of contestation over here, potentially the opportunity to jump on a team, but that's symmetrical. Temple and Wavy Jacob, they could have our second and third place teams boxed directly on top of each other.
They're gonna do it. They spread a little bit out, so they've got some distance. About 2 boxes, 3 boxes away from each other, but if Arkham, Epic Well and are actually able to take down Symmetrical Temple and Wavy Jacob, that's got to be the motivation they need just to keep going, and shots will come through. That's some great aim from Rex, and I expect nothing less, but they've got to be careful when they're opening that many windows one direction. You need to have someone back looking the other way, and Arkham is doing just that, watching and waiting, trying to find anybody on the other side. Maybe Jacob Spencer or Temple rather, going to just be joining in the spray, trying to get these players down, and you already see one of them. That's going to be Regulator, unfortunately falling.
Watching, waiting, anticipating, but they say that they will not go. They want to carry the title home, but right now it's in Reed's hands. They're going to have to snatch it away, and these are the 2 trios who might be able to do it. We do see our match number 1 winners from yesterday currently getting lobby focus. Everyone and their mother throwing bullets over towards the side. It looks like they're trying to take an outside launch pad, but as they do that, they actually hit a direct line of open space towards the second and third place trio, and those guys are not going to miss the shots. Symmetrical gets the conversion onto onto Blizzy. Wavy Jacob looking to try and harpoon away any of the extra materials. Spectacle actually going to get the one onto Nate. So the first one they didn't get points for, but they'll be able to get the refresh. However, if there's no white heals in there, this could get awkward. Good use of the harpoon by Wavy Jacob to pull his teammate in as we cut to a 3-box. So bottom right hand corner, current leaders, extra Reet, extra Snacky, 33 Fabs. Top, second place, 33 Wavy Jacob, CLG Symmetrical, and Temple. Third place, our 4-time defending champs, 5-time across the board, 100 Thieves Rex, 100 Thieves Harkham, Energy, Epic Well, all three still up on their feet. Fourth zone did pull a little bit back inland, so we're going away from the water here in match number 10. We'll have 2 more after this, and the top 3 have definitely separated out a little bit, but I also don't want to forget about Poffy and his trio. They've quietly been inside the top 5 the entire time.
Movement comes out of Arkham, Epic Well, and Rex, and they're moving right toward Shallow. Reet right there as well. They're going to get sprayed at. Reach a little bit further away, a little bit more in the center of the zone. Now, what I want to see from Arkham, Epic Well, and Rex is the decisive high ground takes that we've seen from Stacky, Favs, and Reet, because that's what won Arkham, Epic Well, and Rex so many of their FNCSs, is that they won it from high ground. They saw an opportunity and they took it. They did not hesitate at all. And that's what Reet's doing now. Every time there's an opening for high ground, it seems like they just take it. They just run with it.
Yeah, I think they're focusing almost a little bit too much on keeping their entire team up. We've only seen them challenge for height once or twice, and when it wasn't that successful, they're like, nope, we'll just know there's another opportunity. But because so many other people aren't going for it, if you're able to get a super early and established high ground, it makes it that much harder to take, especially when the high ground we've seen so far in West have gotten some pretty fortunate zone pulls when it comes to 7th or 8th zone. It's been very rare that we've had 7th or 8th zones continuously pull away and really burn out the mats and the utility on the high ground. And what that enables them to do is kind of just focus on playing the rest of the lobby, whittling down shots, and gives them a better chance of winning the game out when you don't really have to extend your builds. We will have at least 2 trios being hit by Storm Surge here in just a second. We have second and third still boxed directly on top of each other. First place is a little bit central with plenty of room. We do see Storm Surge running on the right hand side. Rex, Epic, Well, and Arkham don't have to worry about it, but it looks like they're potentially looking to try and make a play. We see Riversong getting a knock onto Counterlogic Gaming Matrix in the feed. Shallow, Sharp, potentially looking to drop down as well. There's the Storm Surge running. We'll see who starts throwing out shots.
Oh, and how big would that be again? That team above them took second from them, and they want it back. They want first back. But it's baby steps there. Reet is going to get an elimination onto Hako in the feed. That's another 2 points over them. More Storm Surge over them. And look where the zone is coming. Got quite a bit of a trek, but you're right. They've got 4 eliminations, 3 solely on Reet.
So that's at 3 points. That was a 3-point swing going through right there because it pushed us into those placement points. So getting the full elim onto Haku is fortunate. It wasn't a down but not out, or yanking that elimination over. So gets the 2 points, then gets the +1 for the placement. So going to feel good about that, making in the cascading placement points again, but symmetrical. Got swatted out of the ground. Luckily for him, he's able to get a little bit of cover there. Wavy Jacob and Temple collapsing on him right away, but Wavy Jacob then accidentally gets yeeted over the side. Not sure if that's a missed movement, but Symmetrical's body gets boxed up. The veteran gets pulled away, and he's going to get taken down. Snacky also took just a ton of damage on that rotation. Everyone is packed in on the western side, so they need to be very careful. But at the same time, anybody who opens up on them on the low ground has to be careful because it's Fab, Snacky, and Reet.
Who you want to fight against at all, but look at Epic Well, Arkham, and Rex. They're going aggressive on this team right above them. They're trying to get the shots. They're trying to drop them down. They do get the damage. Can they find more than just that? Can they find the eliminations? Reet looking nearby as well, but they're in the opposite direction. Wavy Jacob and Temple nearby at first, second, and third, all split up between each other. Where is that 6th zone gonna go? It looks like it's possibly pulling towards Riversun. It is actually going to pull straight back. Everyone in that top 3 is going to get a favorable zone for now. What are they going to do with it?
A little bit of space here, a little bit of time, a little bit of a breather. We will have a storm surge warning pop up. We will have 6 trios who will be under threat by that, but you can also expect the number to drop very quickly as we only have a minute for this rotation to be made. Players taking the sky. Wavy Jacob going to clear his top. They're going to check up on the high ground, potentially look to challenge or realize this doesn't quite have the height, so they go towards the front. And again, they're also just a duo. This was our third place, or our second place trio, taking it back from Epic Whale, Arkham, and Rex just after the last game. Up on the high ground, Kytrex, Chicken, Mekton, sizable control. Good back to front situation, but it is only a solo tarp. As we zip on down the low ground, we have first and third side by side trying to get some spray on the wall, but Epic Whale doing a very good job of covering that and making sure they cover the top. They are going to launch pad, and they're going to go up. Here's the challenge. You asked for a play, and here it goes. Arkham, he finds the first shot. He gets the box coned in. Not going to be able to find the conversion as he does have his teammate covering his back. Good separation from Kytrex and Mekton, and right away they challenge, and then they opt to drop. They say, hey, we went up, we saw it wasn't there, but who went up and saw it was there? Fabs, Stacky, and Reed, they try and go, and Chicken gets swatted down. Fabs does a great job of drawing damage. Reed, though, takes a ton of damage trying to go up towards the top. You can see only 15 builds, so while he has high ground, Tempo was able to pick up bolts. You can see Kytrex is separated away. Fabs has also been separated, but high ground control is there. The question is how many mats, and does the pole go back to his old builds? It does, so they're going to be gifted that away. Second place falls, so Epic Whale, Arkham, and Rex going to get a little bit of room to take it away. Nova ends up going down, and he gets confirmed, but Arkham loses all of his shields. He doesn't even turn around. His teammate will cover his back. He says, hey, you got my 6. I'm going to keep running forward. Good job creating get up, but still up on the high ground. Number 1 team looking for the number 2 victory royale from them. So many second places under their belts, and right now, or sorry, looking for victory round number 3. They had one yesterday. So many second places with all of their high ground control. Right now, though, priority position on the bottom. Epic Whale, Arkham, and Rex, priority position on top. Fab, Snacky, and Reed.
And they can't win this from the low ground. Yes, you can win the game, but if high ground ends up being the team you're fighting, they're just going to keep that lead. So someone's got to make a play. It may need to be them. They're just trying to survive right now. Seems like they may be comfortable just getting the second place, maybe getting the victory royale, and then going for the last game. But when you get there, when you get into these last 2 games, if the lead is too much, you got to be careful. They don't really have a lot of builds, but they've got 3 eliminations. Where are the players that are, and on top of them, going to drop down? Will Kimchi, will Garbage Truck, will Zoo start to make their way on down? Will high ground pressure be too much and they go down up above?
And they're still just raining shots from above. Those elims will eventually start to tick over. They'll start to add up. Favs is hitting his shots. Rex picks one up on the low ground, but they already end up having 7. The one thing I've noted, we're starting to see thinner builds. We're starting to see thinner tarps. We're starting to see them having to drop down. And when you're dropping down into this. You don't want to drop down into the era of Epic Whale, Arkham, and Rex, the 100 Thieves duo, and the energy cornerstone of NA West. But as I say that, continuing to just rain down elims from the top. Basically, they're trying to turn it into a 2-team race, but if they keep getting first and seconds, you can only close the gap so much, as we saw in match number 9, where despite winning, they didn't gain points. They lost ground on the second place team. We now have a 3v3v2. First and second going up against each other, but 8 elims for Snacky, Reed, and Fabs. We have Yumi and Squishy in between, potentially trying to play spoiler, but Yumi instead just going to give more points over. They're going to Yayi them away. Look to pick it up. 3v1v2, and now we got a 3v3. 10 elims already up on the high ground, 7 on the low ground. They end up finding the first knock. That will come through. They'll get the conversion as well. Now it's a 3v2. Epic Whale, Arkham, and Rex for the second time today, and if they want a chance, if they want to bring the tiebreakers with them, they have to win this game. It's a 3v1, but can Reed put an end to it? He's going to try and find it on the side. They'll match the 10 eliminations. They'll get the victory royale. They only pick up an additional 5 points, though, to close the gap. Clay, I mean, it's going to come down to these last 2 games, but it's a 2-horse race at this point.
It really, really is. And these last 2 games, what needs to happen if you're rooting for Reed, they just need to stay alive, like they're doing. If you're rooting for Arkham, Epic Whale, and Rex, they've got to go for high ground, because that's where Reed's going to be. We'll find out after we send it back to Zeke, to Panda, and Kelly to break it all down.
This is the craziest boxing match chess match, professional sports game. I like the boxing match analogy in my head because it's like for every one punch thrown, the other side is like meeting that punch and like responding. But then by that point, the first person or trio is already setting out the next one. I mean, it's wild to think that this is now the second time this has happened. We see the front runners and the returning champions go head to head. And though in most circumstances, the trio that's like trying, like not necessarily the underdog, but the trio that we expect to win wins, but it's like, what did they really net out of that? Because the other trio is doing the exact same thing. They're literally sitting there being like, okay, yeah, we'll just, if you want to win, that's fine. You can have 5 points because we did the same thing.
I mean, we kind of made some commentary about Reet and Favs last time that they had height, that they walked away with only 6 eliminations, saying that that's not typically what we see from that team. But to see them steal height, well, first of all, let's spell out the story there. Chicken and Kytrex and Co., they had height pretty, solidly, although it was Zone 6, which is always a bit iffy. And then Arkham Rex and Epic Whale looked like they kind of land second height, but try and steal. And then out of nowhere, a Comet lands on the ground, and it's Reet, and he just builds all around them, taking down Chicken and Kytrex's team, and then holds height from there. And there, I was like, okay, now they're going to play passively. No, aggression upon aggression, all the way coming down to another 3v3. Panda, this is what NA West is all about.
It's absolutely absurd that the two main teams we've talked about continually find themselves going up against one another in the final moment. This is the second victory royale, though, for Arkham Rex and Epic Whale. This is a good sign if you are rooting for them. That's the one thing I do want to say, because they didn't get any VRs yesterday. But I think a lot of this plays into the fact that they've changed some things in their game plan and ultimately changed the way that Surge has worked for them, because with this West zone that they just had, it's definitely a bit of a different game.
Yeah, without a doubt, the last few zones from games 7, 8, and 9 today have all kind of go down to south, southeast, which is obviously very far away from Arkham Rex and Epic Whale. And they needed those Storm Surge tags, so to see it go all the way to the west zone clearly was favorable for them. And then we have to talk about Wavy, Temple, and Symmetrical, who are all the way over in Dirty Docks and had an incredible rotation early on. Anyone could see that they were there. They did end up going down, but these rotations into zone is what can make or break these teams. We've seen Reet, we've seen Arkham's team be below Storm Surge several times now today. Obviously, with the zone going to the west side, Arkham Rex and Epic Whale were able to turn that around and use that to their advantage, but I kind of want to say that that doesn't bode well for them. Reet, Favs, and Snacky are able to be in a dominant position regardless of where the zone goes. Clearly being towards the middle of the map, you do have that advantage. But Arkham Rex and Epic Whale seem to only thrive as far as Storm Surge goes if they have that west zone.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more. I think that kind of speaks to them and their character and what they're able to accomplish. But looking at this, it's going to be tough. 373 points, 75 eliminations for Reet, Favs, and Snacky, but second place being only 321, and that being Arkham Rex and Epic Whale. It's going to be tough. 2 games remain. Will it be enough for them to come back?
I definitely think that there is more than enough of an opportunity for them to come back here. We saw Symmetrical, Temple B, and Wavy Jacob that were in second place go down pretty early there with not that many eliminations, which is why Arkham Rex and Epic Whale jumped all the way up. But the thing that we're not seeing, we saw the crazy split from Reet, Favs, and Snacky. No one is punishing them. No one's even near them right now. So this isn't about who can do better, because we just saw Arkham's team grab the VR. It's, can Reet and Favs and Snacky be punished, be taken down for that opportunity for Arkham Rex and Epic Whale? Because if they keep making it to the end game, it's going to be Favs' team.
52 points. 52 points stand between Arkham Rex and Epic Whale and another title championship. This would be their 5th one. Okay, and we're not talking about like, you know, the all-star champions and like this duo tournament over here. This would be 5 titles, 52 points, one last game here in NA West. Will they hold on? Will they overcome the 52 points? Will Symmetrical show up and steal second place from Arkham Rex and Epic Whale? There's a lot to play for and a lot of prize money on the line, Fortnite fam. Buckle up! This is the last game of the FNCS. Clay, Sundown, let's do this one last time.
Here we go, onto the bus, but Zeke, I think you're confusing the word ultimate and penultimate. We got 2 more matches. 52 points, we saw what happened in game number 7. We got time, we're chilling. I'm not stressed yet. I'll be stressed after this game if it's still 52 points, but let's peep on in and see what our current leaders are doing. So we have Reet and Snacky over on the side. Favs is on that split. We do see a team a little bit closer to the north as we get our leaderboard flying on the left-hand side. Just for a reminder, our top 3 are really the only 3 who are in striking distance for the top. After that, there is a fall off. Poppy, Outcast, Scissor, and Pulsar, Eclipse kind of being the guardians. And then you can see as we flip on over our next 10. My name's Sundown, joined by Clay Stelling calling all the action.
So that damage came in from flying in. It seems like it just interesting there, but again, no one's punishing them. It's so interesting to me that no one is saying, hey, we know they're landing there. We know it has been 10 games of them landing there uncontested, and we know they are so split up. And no one wants to try. That's how scary they are.
I mean, if I'm Epic Whale, Arkham, and Rex, I would have thought at least at some point in one of these games, I'm grabbing my car and rather than driving south like they typically do on the rotate, just head due east. Just start driving east. They've headed inland every time. They are being a little bit wary about it, but like, go take that fight out there, right? Like, you've beaten them in the end game fights. That's fine, right? But if you're not impacting their score early on, you're not going to be able to win the game. And yeah, that's a little bit more of a risky play. But at some point, you have to look at that leaderboard and say, if somebody else isn't going to do it, do we have to take it into our own hands? And if they're not going to challenge them then the other opportunity, as kind of called out by the desk, is they have to go up and they have to challenge them on high ground, right? They, rather than kind of waiting for that one opportunity to go, they need to go and try and establish it and then swat them down when they come up and make a point of finishing off those eliminations, as Bumboy, Jagfear, and Batman Booga have made a point of cleaning up Stealthy pretty much every single time they've rotated through.
That's how you kind of rotate into a POI. They're showing how you do it and how you do it well. This team is just running away as Batman Booga is finally getting back over Noah W plays of Vanillas. They did have a great day yesterday, put up a great. They're still putting up a good effort. Vanilla's down very low. Noah W plays will go down. Now they've only got 3 shots left. They have the SMG, but not going to be able to follow it up as they go down. Batman Booga, Jagfear, and Bumboy win again at Stealthy.
And it feels weird to see they're winning at Stealthy because they're not landing anywhere. I don't want to say they're not landing near Stealthy, but they're basically landing in the crouch site, just a little bit to the south of it, a little north of Pleasant, and then just sprinting in and being like, hello, is anybody home? And they have no problem kicking in that door. Don't even knock ahead of time. Just give a quick little shout, and then they're there, and they will use the launch pads to chase it down. We're going to hop on board. Nice little piece of control on the llama box. 210, got it. Good job. Good communication, making sure to get all the supplies from there. And I mean, hey, if you need a way to start off the game, a llama right on the side of Believers Beach towards some natural cover, that's about as lucky as you can get.
It really is. And it looks great for them. But last season, after 10 games, Rex's trio was 40 points behind Favs and Snacky. Today, 52, and they still won. So there's a mountain, but they've climbed that mountain before. They know the path. They know what they need to do. Now they just got to do it.
With 2 games left, I mean, you're running out of time. You got a very thin line. If it's a tightrope, you're walking across the 2 buildings. All of a sudden, that building looks a little bit farther away. And again, they've done enough where any other region, any other time, they would probably be looking at a solid first place performance. But Reet and his trio have played so good and so consistently and put up numbers that now all of a sudden they're looking at an outside shot of maybe even being able to compete. And it could be over after this game, right? They have a 50-point lead. If they open that lead up anymore, we're then talking a record-breaking game, which, I mean, we've said it before on broadcast. You know, when you kind of sit there and have that conversation with your friends, it's like, yeah, well, I would have qualified for the World Cup if I had just gotten a 35 elimination victory royale in my last game. And I'm like, yeah, and I might maybe win a game in a Cash Cup eventually or something. Jokes on me, I'm not allowed to play ever in those, being a Epic employee, but you know what I mean, going through there, like, it's just not going to happen in that regard, right? So getting kind of close to that line.
We're towing it, but if anybody's going to be the one to do it, if any trio will be the trio to make that impossible possible, it's Arkham, Epic, Whale, and Rex. They've pulled off more impossible things before. As Rodrigo is just going to get beamed rotating through, and that's the danger. And we talk about how strong these fights are, these slipstreams are. If you're just zooming on through trying to get away, it's a very predictable pattern for your enemies to just beam you with. And look at Trix immediately going for the piece control, going for a different pressure, and that was beautiful. The team down below, though, will hold them off for now. And again, every fight that you see now from a team that's outside the top 10 is trying to make it into the top 10, because they know, hey, we're not having the best of games. We haven't had them. What can we do? What can we shake up to try to get as many points as we can so that we can get to the top of the leaderboard and make more money?
Yeah, don't forget, it's not just about first place. Of course, that's where we're going to focus the story, particularly in NA West, when the victor has all been said and done for the past 4 seasons. Well, now it looks like things are cutting it a little close here, with our victors playing catch-up, or defending champs playing catch-up right now. However, every single little one of these fights ends up mattering. Every little change in placement ends up being a bump and in prize money at the top of the leaderboard. And you don't really want to let that slip, especially when it's just the difference of 1 elimination. Maybe a tiebreaker coming through, maybe getting that 1 victory royale in the last game. I mean, I always throw it back to the World Cup solos. Everyone kind of misses the little story that happened in the final game. Yeah, Booga held on and ended up getting his huge W. But just Crew able to just run through and end up picking up a 6 elimination victory royale. The last game went from 66 to 6. 66 to 6, a $50,000 payment into upwards of $600,000 that happened. So when we say every single little game matters, every single interaction, just that one moment can change. You never know, particularly in a leaderboard like this, where so many of the points have been allocated to the top 2.
And it's so interesting because it felt like for a moment there it wasn't going to be this 2-horse race that we've seen before, right? We've seen it I believe last season, the season before that as well. It ended up coming down to those top 2. And it felt like in game number 1, it was going to be really up to anybody there. But then that last couple games kind of ran away with it. And now, with so many eliminations being taken off the board as well, right? That's other side of the coin. Yes, everyone's going to be more aggressive, but that means less points for you. And I say more aggressive because we're seeing a lot of fights, but not really many of them are resulting in elimination. In fact, the only people that have been eliminated are from the same trio.
Yeah, we've seen one full trio go down, and right as you talk about it, there you go. There's some action in the feed. 33, Andy Joshua picking up bolts. Confirmation comes through from Krizix, the LATAM trio, trying to get their teeth cut a little bit on that side, get the picks going on. But we do have our 3rd and 4th trios boxed up on top of each other. We're also take a peek at Reed, Snacky, and Fabs, because again, we kind of talk about the winning moments, the ability to clutch. These guys have played fantastically. I believe they're up to something like 5 second place finishes now, coming through 3 yesterday, 2 today, 2 victory rounds to end up going with it. Only 1 really poor game in there. I mean, they could close it out here right now.
They're getting pressured at an awkward angle. Look at them already losing a lot of HP. They have enough shields to heal it back up, but this is unusual for them. And this second zone getting pressured out. They're continue to come through. Getting dangerously low.
Yeah, and they're in zone 2 right now, so there's no real reason for these shots to necessarily be taken, but they're burning into a bunch of their utility, and they don't have the best of mats, so this is another situation where they could be forced to look for a refresh. And I don't necessarily think I've seen them be trading shots, but here they are going to try and get the jump on the hit, trying to jump right in. This is very aggressive from them. The most aggressive we've seen in the early moment without Storm Surge Warning going through, and they're just going. They're full sending up into this attic, and I don't agree with that decision at all. Snacky gets back down completely. No shields. He pokes his head up and above, and they're trying to own everything underneath, get some form of control and real estate here. But Defiable, Salco, and Mojo saying, hey, we've been on the other end of this push before. We want nothing to do with it. And honestly, I'm fine with that. If they were able to get some damage out, it looks like they got some onto Mojo, and they were potentially just worried about Storm Surge, but they ate a ton there. Now they're turning the attention over to Quito, Blizzro, and Oka, and Reed's going to cut them off right away, saying, no, we know everybody wants to rotate him to rear farm up. This is our cabin.
And if Mojo and them are aware of this, they need to get involved. They need to keep putting that pressure back down. They need to be the ones spraying on top, either teams, right? If they want to be the ones that take down Reed, they spray directly down. They keep them from being there. But Reed and them have found a trio that doesn't have the shield, doesn't have the HP to withstand them, is not going to be able to do so. That's going to be enough surge for them, because they're going to take down Bluzzo there, who is trying to crawl away, but Reed's going to find him. More damage coming through. They desperately needed that. They wasted a lot of mats getting into zone. Reed back up to full. Kytrex, Chicken, and Megtud coming over. They're looking goodbye. You could get involved here as well. Quinn Wave and Cool have angles, but the Firefly's going to come through. It's going to burn that base down. Luckily, they're in fully built metal.
Fully built metal also have put the floors down, and I have to worry about the floor catching on fire, because the ground will end up transferring that over. And I mean, it's just waiting for something to go wrong for this trio during one of these early pushes, but it seems to not happen. The push in the cabin was a questionable one, but Salco, Mojo, and Defiable weren't in a position to really fully take advantage of it. Now we do have our third place trio heading over, and they're going to ramp up above. They're just going to take high ground away, and Mojo, Salco, and Defiable really being a little bit submissive in this regard. Like, they just kind of content to be like, nope, you're good, we got it, we're fine, don't need to contest, you can just walk right on top of us, you can rotate around us, you can push into our base, as long as you're not actually taking down our trio, that's fine. Right now, Epic Whale, Rex, Arkram, they are very split, but they're taking this fight. There is, this is the only other trio over here, so it is isolated. Nice little 42 tag, but it's basically going to be traded back evenly through. So Epic Whale going to shield up Reed, picks up an elimination in the feed, closing the gaps a little bit, and this might be a situation where if you can get a couple of eliminations, back off, beta reboot, maybe get a couple more, just really try and min-max on the fights over there. Meanwhile, Javier getting any elimination in the feed. We will have Storm Surge start to take over right now. Rex, Arkham, Epic Whale, only 87 above him. 4 trios who are going to be hit. 87 is not guaranteed safety. You can see Garbage Truck trying to do his best to create a little bit of distance. Arkham hits a huge shot on the Zooks, so that's going to make them more than safe for this Storm Surge. Zooks and Co are not safe, though. They're taking damage, and right as I say, a Garbage Truck able to trade one shot back. He's almost able to get them above, but this should be 3 eliminations for Epic Whale, Arkham, and Rex if they play it correct.
They have to keep the damage onto them, though. They don't want to let them get back and heal, and then that damage counter go off, and they end up going down to Surge. But look, they're pinching him. They've got 2 going from one way, 1 going from the other. Zooks very low, Kimchi very low, Garbage Truck low. They just need to go in. They just need to get a couple more tags of damage. It doesn't really matter what they end up taking there, as Epic Whale is going to take a big shot there. Garbage Truck is going to get a nice shot on the side from Arkham. They will take them down. They're going to throw him off. The shakedown may not even be able to come through, as that Surge is going to keep hitting. No, it will come through. We saw one of the players try to slipstream away, but they couldn't. Surge is going to get all of them. And that's 3 more eliminations. But at the same time, we saw Reed get boost. So how many are they on? Is it even going to close the gap at all? Yes.
2 points. 2 points gap closed. You can see top left hand corner. Still 72 players up, so 1 trio is being hit by Storm Surge. 25 trios on their feet, so 1 more will need to drop. And we'll have those 5 points being given out, basically saying, here you go. Made it through to that mid-game moment. Storm Surge does turn off. We'll see Reed, Snacky, and Favs doing a good job in terms of tournament management mode. They're going to head just interior enough, probably get this little Pueblocita over here. Get in, just try and get whatever amount of brick that they can reform. You're safe using the natural cover to turn around. It's really difficult to get line of sights here. The only people who could potentially contest are Sharp and Shallow, and they definitely have not been doing that so far today. So they're in a great spot to really make it into another round of those cascading placement points. And again, If they just hold on and the gap doesn't close this game, we could talk about this being the clincher, Clay.
We'll find out. And it feels like just a moment. If they make one critical error, though, that's where it becomes anybody's game. Because right now it's theirs. They just have to stay up. As we move over, Symmetrical could not do that as they are going to go down. Reboot, not an option in this zone. We talk about reboots on West. We haven't really seen any of the finals. No one really prioritizing that. But look at just how open it is. It's a completely different playing field. You're used to going into Weeping in these surrounding areas, and there being just an abundance of trees, an abundance of cover. But look at that perspective. It's open.
Yeah, you'd think we'd be playing on EU with the scorched earth policy that's going around here, but instead we're kicking it. We're going up towards the northeast side. All of Weeping burned down, so you get a little bit of different look at the topography. And while it's pretty smooth, the couple of changes in verticality are a little bit rougher than you'd expect because they're in awkward spots on the grid space. And what I mean by that is when you build in Fortnite, obviously you can place walls and you can place floors, but there's some spots, right, where like the floor is almost completely inside the floor and you're right towards the side. And these hills are very awkward length. Some of them like 1 1/3 grid spaces, some of them are a little more. And you might think, oh, Reed took a ton of damage there, but he knows what he's doing. This is very much intentional. If you leave that open, more often than not, he's winning those trades. It just happens to be the first time we've seen him lose one in a while, but this is how they're trading for Storm Surge.
We swap over to the backside of zone. A trio all alone rotating through low ground. Nobody there. Nobody looking.
This has got to be a high ground game. Has to be. Look at the loadout on Arkham. He has the sideways minigun. You do not pick this weapon up if you are anticipating playing low ground. It's fine down there, right? But it is much more efficient when you are working top down and just ripping shots through your opponent. To me, this screams like, hey, we're going for this.
How will they grab it, though, with that natural high ground in? If it pulls towards Weeping more, they'll have more of an opportunity. But with that Guardian Tower looming up above, they have to be ready for a build-up into a launch pad. 34 below, though. We may see them go for it a little bit sooner than we thought. They're posturing. Arkham's got that minigun out. Looking for any sort of tags there. 34 still below. They need to start as the minigun going to come through. They're going to be firing it at the wall, trying to break it. They're trying to break those cones. See if anybody's inside it. Not going to get any damage. The triple spray going to be there. But look at the beam that goes back onto them. Now 46 below. They got to make a play. They got to make it quick. They've got to make a decision. 111. Got the shields out. Heelless with 20 seconds remaining. He need more. Reed's going to find elimination on the other side. That'll count over for Favs as Temple the only one remaining for his trio.
And this is it right now. 10 seconds, Storm Surge turns on. We know Temple is low. That's third place. We'll assume he's well below. If Epic Whale, Arkham, and Rex cannot pick up and get above the Storm Surge, if they go down, the West has been won. Panda will have been victorious, and Reet will have won his first FNCS ever. It comes down to this fight right now. The 4-time defending champs, the 5 times overall. Did they manage to get above the Storm Surge? What is their plan? No, they didn't. They're grouping up. It's going to be chili chug splashes, and then they're going to have to go. You see them editing out. The damage is coming through 75 below, but only 2 players need to go down. They're looking to see, is anybody going to open a ramp? 4 out of the 9 teams Phasico have eliminated today have been by Rex's trio, but none of that matters right now. 75 damage. They're still going down. Chili chug splashes are still there. They're in a staring contest with their opponents, and they got above. They ticked over and above. I didn't see any damage go through. I assume one of the players who got knocked must have been above Storm Surge. That was enough. And the patience to hold on and just wait. They saw that trio launch pad as well. And they're good, Clay. They sweat. They passed the test. We're into the cascading placement points, but now can they make the rotation safely? Tons of rifle shots end up coming through, but not quite breaking any of the shields. A nice little sigh of relief. Let's zoom out a little bit. Let's take a look at that 3 box. Did Temple end up making it through? If not, we are truly in a 2-team race with Reet, Snacky, and Favs together there.
Temple did not. He fell in the rotation. So now for first place, it'll all end up coming down to Arkham, Epic Whale, and Rex in second, trying to challenge this team right here. Reed, Snacky, and Fast, who have played an incredible game, but this is why they're doing so well. Immediately, it's not even that 6 zone showing yet, and they are looking to take high ground already. They are posturing for it. That is what we saw so many seasons of Arkham, Epic Whale, and Rex doing, and now just look at the difference. They're on low ground, but you're right. They've set up for it. They have the inventory for it from Arkham. You gotta get there, though.
They have to convert. They can't wait. Our 4th place trio, yeah, they're on the outside looking, potentially look at a challenge up towards 2nd and 3rd. First, a little bit out of place, but haven't talked to them about them enough because they've just been sneaky, a little bit consistent. Outcast Razor, Coffee, Eclipse, they'll take to the sky. Look to connect, and they do, so now they will have a very definitive high ground position. And this makes things super interesting because you can't super challenge that. You can try. I don't think it's going to go well for you because they went so early and found the right tag that they're way above. You can see Snacky, Reet, they're going just towards the backside. Snacky has no effective HP. They realize they can't go up. Instead, they're going to be forced down, and this makes this game much more interesting.
And they're really low, too. They just got a lot of damage on rotation. Now, Arkham going to look to try to take high ground and to beam them with that sideways minigun. But you're right, they are so far below. They have found no damage on these rotations. They're going to try to get into zone and out, heal it, but they really just got to hop into a box and try to eliminate some players as... Once again, look, they're going for the high ground. They're looking for it, rather, but the low ground drop comes through. They can't get it, so they go for the launch pad. Are they going all the way up? Yes, they are. They're landing on top. This is it. This is the decisive decision they needed to make. Can they take it from the team up above? Do they go down to Storm Surge here? Because in 3 seconds, it's going to start to tick. They get enough above. They keep the high ground. Rex and Epic Whale are there, but they have to find more damage. Epic Whale going to take some there from the low ground, but they have high ground. They're below. They need to find more. Arkham can only take 2 more ticks of it. That's going to be 30 damage. Is it going to put them up above? Yes, for now, 5. They need to find more. Their tournament hopes are hanging in the balance right now. Rex. The FNCS is hanging right here. They're going for Rex. It's switched back over. They don't have enough damage. Arkham can only take 1 more tick, but it's back over again. It's back and forth. 5 damage above, 5 damage below. They're trying to find more. There's 122 above. That should be it for now. And it's an elimination, but they don't have a lot of builds.
They're almost out of builds. They went for the high ground, take it low on the low ground. Read down, Snacky, down. That's it. They're done. They're out. The door is open again. They only got 2 placement points. They saw that in the feed and high ground. All of a sudden, they said, hold on, close that. It's not sealed, and yet nobody said I do because they say I don't. We want 5 in a row. 4 eliminations on the board, and Arkham all of a sudden has 50 builds. We're pulling out and away. They're getting about face. Clay, it's going to come down to the final game. There's no way they're going to let this slip. But Mitty, Nico, and Kaboo, they looked for a second and they said, nope, we're good. They're going to drop down. And you called it. They need hype, but they need to convert. They have to. And I mean have to turn this into a win. They need every point possible to close the gap because you don't know if you're going to get another opportunity like this next game. Cyrazer picks up Yumi as we close in. 12 trios left. Rex trying to do his best to connect and be as efficient as possible. Arkham is the one who leads on builds, but he's the one who also has that sideways minigun. Down to only wood, and the zone pulls back. They get high ground control.
This is what everyone wanted in that moment. They wanted it to go down to the final game. They need to find these elims. The gap is big, but they can close it. There's still so many players up above. They don't have as much builds as they used to, and that they have in past, but it doesn't matter. It went over enough builds. Shots come through. Epic Whale getting to beams. They've got 4 eliminations. They still have enough mats there on Arkham. They're going to find more loot. Look at that. Harpoon may be able to come through. They're sending Rex down to try to find any extra loot. Shields, mats, it doesn't matter what it is. They want it. They need it. And look, they're going to have such control. Everybody on low ground is running out of HP. All of a sudden, they are disappearing. The lobby is going away. Jackveer trying to stay up, trying to stay alive, but it doesn't matter because Arkham, Epic Whale, and Rex have just won their 3rd game today and have closed the gap substantially.
211 points on today at all. But Clay, they needed to send somebody down earlier. They got no additional eliminations. They weren't able to pick it up, so they get 38 points going through. They closed the gap a little bit, but we talked about it. They had done enough to really open up. It's going to come down the last game, but it's a 2-horse race. Let's kick it over to the desk. They're going to show us where those horses are at and where the field is.
Well, Sundown, that's not entirely true because I didn't even know that this was actually the last game because I got ahead of myself. Like a DJ would. I'm just dropping too many hot beats that I don't know what time of the day it is or week or wherever we're at. Hi, I'm Zeke. It's great to see you guys. My goodness. So remember, going into that game, they were behind 52 points. And now, Kelly, with that is going to be such a small number. Maybe 20, maybe 30 tops, but this is exactly where they want to be. And of course, you mentioned this like before in the back. You were like, man, you know what I want this? I want this to come down to that last game. I want to see them go head to head. I want them to battle it out for the title.
I mean, Jacket, that was a record scratch right there. It's exactly what I wanted to see. I was talking about it in the green room that, you know what? Refabs and Snacky, they deserve the win, especially Snacky in the journey that he has had in second place over and over and over again, picking up new players, trying to experiment with his team comp, and now they're so close and they go down early, which is heartbreaking, but that's the story you want, right? You don't want it to be a 50-point lead. You want it to be neck and neck, and that is what we're going to be getting for our final game, Panda.
We are. Look, I obviously got to commend Arkham Rex and Epic Whale. The consistency is unreal today. 3 victory royales on the day. But it's going to be close. One more game remaining, Zeke. I can't.
Production, just be ready with that clip like I told you to do, just in case.
Okay.
I'm just saying, production, just be ready. That's all. Guys, let's talk about the top 3 trios going into this final game. Because though first and second are battling it out, I mean, it's also possible this third place team very well could make plays.
Yeah, we're going to be jumping into Reet, Fabs, and Snacky here, and this is actually not when they grabbed a VR. This is when they grabbed 12 eliminations in that second place finish there. An incredible performance, because regardless of if you're able to walk away with a VR or not, it's about those eliminations that really separates Reet's team from the rest of the pack. Of course, Symmetrical's team here having an incredible performance as well, grabbing another second place finish right here on the low ground, actually versus Reet's team with the 6 eliminations.
Yeah, and look, this is what we're talking about, right? It seems to be these 3 teams battling out in the final moments, but here it is. Arkham, Rex, and Epic Whale go up against Refabs and Snacky, and Arkham and company do what we thought going into today would be the unthinkable, which I don't know why I would think that. It's Arkham, Rex, and Epic Whale coming out on top here, getting the eliminations onto Reet & Co., and getting the so desperately needed VR, 1 of 3 that they've gotten on the day.
Okay, 30 points is still a lot. That is a big separation. I think Reet, Fabs, and Snacky clearly coming in here as the favorites. And to be fair, Arkham Rex and Epic Whale in that last game that we just watched almost lost height very that they seem to be falling into quite frequently is that they had Storm Surge in Zone 7?
Yeah, you actually watch them go through not just all of their heals due to Storm Surge, and it actually put them in a pretty compromising spot when they went to go for the high ground. They still were able to come out on top, but it was extremely risky in the way that they were taking the fight. They are going to have to adjust the way that they focus on Storm Surge in this final game if they want to be successful, because again, you cannot find yourself coming out on top in this final game high pressure situation without having some heals in the inventory in those final moments.
I love the spotlight that always targets the opponents. A Limbs versus Fabs' trio 3, but you got to look at the Limbs versus the top 10 right now. Arkham Rex and Epic Whale are a beast, and they kind of always seem to be in a different layer than Reet, Fabs, and Snacky. In fact, their rotations rarely have them facing up against each other, but when they're on the low ground, which Arkham Rex and Epic Whale seem to find themselves to do a lot, except for that last game that we just watched, they are able to clean up the rest of the lobby.
Yeah, I mean, look, Arkham specifically, his solo impact points, 57. That speaks to the impact he has had as a solo player. If you don't know that at home, that could be points that he got from being alive. It could be eliminations that he got working as a solo player. So Arkram, definitely the heel of this entire trio, but will it be enough? A 30-point deficit going into this final game. Can they make up the space? It's going to be tough for them, but it's not impossible. This is so close, Zeke.
There's just not enough words to quantify and put together how close this is. This could very well be the 5-time back-to-back 2 more times champions, Arkham Rex and Epic Whale, or this could be the dawn of a new era. It's time, Fortnite fam. For real this time, one last game in NA West. The final game of Chapter 2, Season 8 FNCS starts right now.
The actual final game. We have seen 6 regions play out in our 7th region, 11 matches so far. And in any other circumstance, you would feel Epic Whale, Arkham, and Rex would have done enough. 3 victory royales today alone, 211 points. But I mean, Clay, I can't help but feel like the opportunity was their last game to close the gap a little bit more. We're going to tune in with our current leaders, as all they have to do is hold on to close out this wild ride.
And I'm going to say it again. I'm so honestly surprised that no one, out of all the games, and we saw it all the way back in World Cup, Booga changed up his drop last game, because he knew someone was going to come. Someone was going to try to play spoiler, but nobody here in NA West wants that title of spoiler. They wanted to go down to the last moment of the last game, so we will get that. So here, Babs and Snacky, we've got to play perfect. We saw last game they faltered, and Epic Whale, Arkham, and Rex took advantage of that. We move over to the Kings, to the Titans, and give them many names. They're the 5-time, many different FNCS, the 4-time back-to-back here in Trios FNCS. And with Trios coming to a close here soon this season, they want to be the 5-time back-to-back. They want to be able to say, we've won 6 FNCSs on every single member of our Trios. Like everyone talked about, there's a 29-point difference. So if they win the game and no placement points go over to Reed, they will win solely based off of that. We know Elims are going to come through for both trios. So when we say it's coming down to the last minute, it literally will come down to the last possible minute here.
With the exception of the All-Star Showdown, Epic Whale, Rex, and Arkham have won basically every single major competition on West this year. Will that streak come to an end? Yes, we have Grand Royale right after. They could potentially stick it around, but as we keep an eye, don't forget, this is it. And not only is it, but they have to push the pace, right? It's not good enough to just win. They have to win, they have to get eliminations, and they have to see Reet's name on the right side of that elimination feed. They need to see him going down. Yes, his whole trio will need to go down, but if Reet is up, he always has a chance to make plays. He always has a chance to eke out just a few more points. And again, something else to consider, Clay. I'm pretty sure, are they tied on victory royales? No. Epic Whale and Co have the advantage. Reet and Co only have 2, right? I would say only 2, but
yeah, only 2, only 3 is so. The fact that almost half of the games have gone to them really have shown how dominant they are, dominant they have been playing. And so we know they're not going to stop anytime soon.
Last season, after 11 games, there was a 20-point difference. Favs and Snacky had a lead over Arkham, Rex, and Epic Whale, 383 to 363. Coming into this season, 29-point difference. Favs and Snacky, with the addition of Reet, they've opened up that lead 9 extra points. We saw the heroics in Game 12 last season. Will they be able to do it one more time? The stealthy fight now, there'll be a little bit of a resolution. We're just peeping around, seeing what kind of early engagements are going on. But as you all are watching and been sticking with us the whole time, first of all, thank you so much for tuning in, catching all the action, spending your Halloween with us. I hope you got plenty of candy. Hope you dress up and got the costume. And if you didn't, I hope you watch your favorite scary movie. If you don't celebrate, well, you've had some amazing Fortnite to at least keep you entertained. As Bumboy, Jackman, and Batman Booga still continuing to try and exert their pressure over the stealthy stronghold play, but no, Vanillas and Range are putting up a much better defensive fight this time.
And every fight matters so much because it's worth so much money. It's about where you end up at the end of the day. Jaguar just gonna bait that shot out. Easy shot coming through, but the follow-up not gonna be as easy. They're gonna have to keep pressuring through the entire trio. If they bite off a little bit more than they want, that trio's gonna hop onto them. They're gonna box them. They're gonna piece control them. They're still trying to go, and you see the edits coming through, and there's no shotgun shot gonna connect onto Ranger. They're already so low. He knows that the rest of them don't have that much HP. We'll go for the immediate siphon. And the team seems to disengage. They get a chance to go away, launch pad away, and I'm kind of surprised that Jaguar did let them launch pad out, but Batman Booga's not letting anybody get away.
Saying, get over here, trying to run him down. Where is he? Well, he's right in front of you, Batman Booga taking a second, trying to line up the shots, but doesn't necessarily have the composure he needed right now. Again, a stiff breeze will knock Vanilla over. He's less than an extract right now. I mean, it's a drop in the well to be able to take him down, but one of the harder things in Fortnite is when somebody does take the air and they get in these rolling hills, they break line of sight, following them's a little bit difficult, and they need to be careful about maybe overextending, because we've seen that Rex, Epic Whale, and Arkham, they're going hunting after their initial route, right? Like, they're not necessarily worried about just kind of like going and looking tags. They've been boxing up on trios and just fly.
And they need to keep doing it. That's what's gotten to them to where they are. Look at where they are now. Near Noah W plays and near Vanillas, they should be able to hear the boat coming through if they come their direction. Teams for now, they're just focused on getting back to full mats. Noah will drive the other way. And with no one nearby, you have to wonder where their storm surge damage is, where their tags are. Yes, they can sit up here, and if zone pulls to them, great, they'll have it, but we've seen how they've struggled to deal with that as Rex is going to get Vanillas.
I'm not sure if he's not getting credit for that. He would have already ended up getting the point coming through. So no additional 2 points going over. It's okay. Sigh of relief, but that is some additional tags. However, I'm going to question the game plan here. It might make me look stupid. You can click this if you want. But if I'm these three, I'm not posting up right here. I am continuing to move inland, and I am looking and I am trying to hawk and maybe not start a fight with Reet and his trio, right? But try and get some other people to shoot at them as well, right? The 2 times you see them go down or be in tough situations has been when they've been lobby focused or trying to make these interesting decisions in terms of rotations or being a little bit lackadaisical in them. And if there's one thing that Rex, Archer, and Epic Whale know how to do, it's how to understand rotations and manipulate the lobby into doing what they want. Now we're going to swing over. Quinn, Cool, and Wave. They're close enough to make this a little weird. Quinn trying to trade some shots, being a children of the corn, but doesn't want to get scythed down here as Snacky and Reet. They're posted way up top. They are much less split. They're able to kind of consolidate a little bit quicker, which you can expect here in game number 3, right? Or in game number 12, excuse me. Everything is on the line. The final opportunity. Here's our third place trio who, in reality, they're out of contention for first, could potentially look to swing in for second, but overall, they're just trying to secure their biggest payday possible.
And the best thing about Fortnite is, unlike conventional sports, you usually have that one team that can play spoiler on the run to these big playoff games and such. With Fortnite, if it's a 2-horse race, there's 97 other trios that can look and try to find, or rather players that can find you and take you out. It can remove your chances of keeping it there. There are so many different variables, and they have to be ready for that. Arkham, Epic Whale, and Rex are going to find a duo on the other side in the bush, but they're not going to go for it. A zone is going to pull right back to Believer for them. They've got the setup again. They don't have the sideways minigun. They have launch pads. They have all of the loot, and they pull zone. Do they have damage? Stay up.
So, looking at the situation, knowing what's on the table. If you are just tuning in, what fantastic timing. Welcome. This is the final game of NA West. My name is Sundown, joined by Clay Stelling. You're catching the final game of the FNCS season of all the regions. 6 other trios have already claimed their acts of champions. It comes down to Reet, Snacky, and Fabs versus the 4 times defending champs of Arkram, Epic Whale, and Rex. And their game plan is to simply win the game. They are playing to win. They are not changing their strategy. Epic Whale, Arkram, and Rex say, hey, the win is 30 points. We know we'll need to get aggressive if we're in that situation, but we need all the placement points. They're taking it a little bit out of their hands in terms of the control and going and trying to deny Snacky, Reet, and Fabs. But this is the situation where we've seen them go down before, and there's a number of trios who are hawking them right now. So this rotation is not safe for them. We will get a check-in on Surge here in a little bit. We see Nico is taking out Moose there in the feed, so we're down to 74 players, only 2 trios who will be impacted by it. But this is a situation where they need to be careful because there are 2 trios hawking their back. We've already seen Quinn has been trying to look for where they're going. Kenzo, Healthy, and Former have a great line of sight to him, and they've already bled through a decent amount of their over 50 shields. What do we mean by over 50 shields? That's shields that can be applied when you're already above 50. So things like Mini don't count, but Chug Splashes and Big Pots, those are very valuable. Shieldfish kind of fit into that as well as some other natural healing things, but a good line of sight from Reet and a couple of extra tags is going to make him feel just a little bit more secure in terms of that Storm Surge.
Getting to that moment where in West, everyone's so focused on rotating. A Surge pops up, we're going to wait, and they're going to be above 359 above. They won't have to worry. They won't have to make edits like Reet was making there, but he's going to go for him just to secure their placement on that totem pole. Bottom right, 400 above for Epic Whale, Arkram, and Rex. Symmetrical Temple actually going to be the ones right above Reet, Fabs, and Snacky. And I talked about how if you want to play spoiler, that team right there is one that can do it. Symmetrical, Wavy, Jacob, and Temple could box fight them better. This is big.
Yeah, but the one thing to note from Symmetrical Wave, Jacob, and Temple, when they ramp over teams, they're not looking to fight them, right? Like, they don't care about kind of pressing their vertical advantage. The one thing that could get weird, right? You see the danger pings coming out right now from Temple, is if XLR and Nova get on this wall. If this turns into a 3-way fight, if I'm Snacky, Reet, and Favs, I am running. Like, I am not staying anywhere near this. I'm not trying to peek through. I might even burn a launch pad and low pad away, because that's one of the situations you just don't want to end up stuck in, especially when you have Dog right on the other side being able to get a line of sight on you. You don't have great power position to be able to punish either one of these trios. You could look to maybe get a cut down because the ramp isn't that strong, but doing so is just going to open you to any potential return fire. What matters right now if you're that trio? It is winning this tournament. It is walking away with that Axe of Champions. You are not in Storm Surge threat. You are not in danger. Don't open a single one of those hard maths. Don't peek your head out. Don't think maybe if I just get that elimination or get that, eliminate the worst case scenario and make Arkram, Rex, and Epic Whale, make them win it. Make them take it away from you. Make them make the miraculous play.
They're looking to do it. Team launch padding over is going to get sprayed out of the air. Are they going to hit their shots? 49 for Epic Whale. What more did they find? Player down below, they can go on this if they really, really wanted to. Zone's moving soon. I see no reason why they can't. They've already got them so low. Another team spraying at them. They're actually getting hit by Surge down below, so this is perfect. They can just outweight them. They can drop down. And this is 3 eliminations that they won't have to worry that much about. Nitrix is trying to go for the spray onto them, but defensive hold coming in. They know, they hear the Storm Surge shield cracks coming through. They're just going to spray back. They are just waiting because they know, hey, we already got damage on these players, but they need to make sure they got it onto every single person in the trio because they don't want an elimination to slip away, because 2 points right now means everything.
If anything, I think they need to go and take the fight. They get the knock on the Angel. Nitrix is going to end up getting converted on as well. I wouldn't finish Angel there. Let Storm Surge keep hitting him, but it doesn't matter. They're able to get that. Rex will get back up on his feet. Good revive. Good little swing for them. We're into the top 24. But Reet, Snacky, and Fabs are still up. So the 5 points from that placement, that doesn't matter. It doesn't go towards that 29-point delta. They did, however, pick up 3 eliminations. So keeping an eye on the difference, the gap is now down to 23 points, Clay.
Cutting it down every chance they get. Look where Reet, Fabs, and Snacky are. This is concerning solely because every time we've hopped in on Favs, Reet, and Snacky around this zone, they're usually looking for surge tags onto a team that needs them as well. They usually already have an elimination or two. And right now they've got nothing.
They've got nothing, but when we checked on Storm Surge, they were still 400 plus above. So plenty of damage going through. The more dangerous thing is here, they have an awkward rotation and Former and his trio that we called out at the start. Have a great line of sight on all three of these guys. The Favsry and Snacky, they can't go first, right? If they go first, all three of these trios, as well as the duo behind Salco and Defiable, are just going to rain shot. So now they're going to start trying to build builds. But, oh, this is so lucky that Wavy, Jacob, Temple, and Symmetrical looked over at Defiable and Salco, and instead you can see Favsry and Snacky were able to just walk straight forward, no shots being thrown out. So right as I say that, actually, Favs takes a bunch of shots. Re-6 situation we saw where they got caught before. Don't forget, there is still another trio directly behind him who's rotating in. They're going to try and ambush them. This could be the FNCS right here. Symmetrical Temple and Wavy Jacob wall-to-wall over on the side. Dog J Roses are looking to potentially get an ambush over here with a little bit of help, but no need to build it up here. Deep breath for everyone. Calm down. We'll just pack in. We'll share real estate along the outside. They're wall to wall, but there's no reason to go aggro, and they're going to get some refarm up. Are they in the best position? No. Are they in a position where they can still absolutely rotate out of this? Yes.
That's what Reed's feeling right now, just a breath. They made it in the zone. They got a favorable-ish zone, not too bad. And that's even better. Those shields just got broken in front of them, onto Symmetrical, on the Temple, onto Wavy Jacob, and now they're going to go aggressive. This is usually where we see them.
Don't go. Why? Don't go. Stop. It doesn't, like, again, you might think, oh, this is an opportunity to get that refresh and get any points. You don't need a refresh and you need points. You just need to stay in this game and maximize your chance. Yes, you could guarantee it with a fight there, but even if you win that fight 99 times out of 100, if this is the one time you don't, you didn't get enough points. And if there's anybody in this lobby that you're going to be pushing and say, hey, we can capitalize, I don't think you want to be Temple, Wavy, Jacob, and Symmetrical. I can think of maybe one other team I would want to push less right now if I am Reet, Snacky, and Favs, and they're going to do the smart decision. Let them go out. But this is where things get a little awkward because real estate right on that edge zone is very precious, and Clay, they've waited so long that they're the last ones to go. Down, they need to pad and change the angle right now. I don't think
they're gonna have to invest this in, but no, they're gonna go for the rotate on foot. And luckily enough, there's no one on the other side, so they have time to do this. They did go for the layer change, cutting off this the line of sights there that Salco Defiable had. But again, that's only a duo there.
But Kinzo, Former, and Healthy had few of them the whole time. Just nobody was looking. You have three members and all three of you are checking the same two sight lines. There's no reason they should have been able to just casually walk in there, but they're below Storm Surge. They're below Storm Surge. They're going in on their duo. They're diving in. If they can fight defensively off, this could be huge. They still have plenty of time. It's 45 seconds, but they're trying to take the 3v2, and Reek ends up taking a bunch of damage. Are they able to trade it back? Reek gets back down. Valve gets back down. Uh-oh, Spaghetti-O, this could be it.
Oh, no.
See the pressure. Reek almost down. His shield's broken, trying to push through, trying to find it. They're still down and below. It's not enough Valve with a sliver of HP. They know the aggression is there, and if I'm Defiable and Salco, this is their opportunity to get back in the game. And another little bit of breath. It could have fallen. It could have been the one opportunity, and Reed finds Salco. Reed finds Salco. He finds an Elam. He opens the gap back up. He gets them above Storm Surge, and Reed says, you can hold your breath for a second, but if you wait for too long, I'll find it. But now the lobby seems to have chosen them. Defiable's over on the side. The spray is coming over. And if you're Temple, Symmetrical, and Wavy Jacob, you know that's them. You heard the shots. You heard the Elam get confirmed. You see them looking for an angle, looking for refreshes. Do they go?
Defiable's gonna have to zone. Pooled, actually unfavorable for them because they have to go up. Epic Well gonna get Elam in the feed. Church will turn off here soon. 7 players need to go down. They are above 65. It's ticking down. It's trending not in their favor. They are gonna have to go. Rex, another elimination in the feed. They
21.
are looking for anything. They're 65 above. Can they find? Defiable needs to hide. Defiable needs to not move. There's another Elam, it looks like, for Arkham. Epic Whale and Rex. More points going over there, cutting into
19.
that lead. What can Favs and Snacky do? Are they going to be able to find the solo that is below Surge? Or are they going to have to make a play to go all the way around here? No, 309 above. Somehow found a lot of damage. That or someone up above did end up going down. They take the pad and they're going try to make it over, but get scuffed on the way there. They're not able to make it all the way through. They're not all together. The team above and below is spraying at them. They are separated. This is not good. Reed and a launch pad away.
Taken to the sky, trying to dodge, trying to do his best. Takes a couple of ticks there, but they are valuing just getting back together, getting to the cascading placement points. And we talk about it. If every single elimination that we've seen from Epic Whale, Arkham, and Rex has been confirmed was there, it's a 19-point difference right now. They have a team on their wall. They're 326 above. They're fine for this storm surge, potentially fine for the next one, which shouldn't be a factor for Epic Whale, Arkham, and Rex either, based on the number of eliminations. But you can see now, Second Reed trying to open up on the side. They have trios above and below them. We're going to tune in second place, and yeah, they're sitting on 5 eliminations, 226 points through 5 games so far today, and trying to find more, trying to find the rifle shots on the side, doing a good job of flipping the ramp above, not taking any risks, and they pulled the zone. The zone is coming back to them, and more importantly, it's going back above Bav, Snacky, and Reed, where they already had to burn 2 launch pads to even get together. Healthy, Kazo, Informer have the priority position, and Temple, Wavy, Jacob, Symmetrical are already in between. We're tuning in, still only on 1 elimination. We will get a Storm Surge 1 on the right-hand side. Rex picks up an Elam, but Reed also ends up getting 1. That's 2 points that are going to end up being matched. So the difference is still at that 19 points. We'll keep track as best we can for you because it's coming down to the wire, into the cascading placement points. Launch pads will take off to the sky. The rotation comes out. Match number 12 here in NA West. It's David versus Goliath, but Goliath has had an eye poked out. His Achilles is torn, and he's desperately trying to squash David with his fist before he keels over and gets eliminated at the last moment. Our leaders take to the sky. Reed, Babs, and Saki finding the box. They're in the box. They find an Elam. That's huge. They open it up. There's a wall on the other side. They will trade it out. Jack Fear ends up going down, but Reed takes a bunch of damage. All of his shield's gone. Creates some room. Babs goes down. Babs is almost all the way down. Snacky finds a little bit of room. They get a little bit of respite, but will it be enough? No. Snacky is confirmed. Reed needs to hold on. Babs is going to be the only one. Reed almost gets shield broken again. No builds on Reed. If there's a time to do it, if there's a time to clutch up, if there's a time to prove that you are truly the best of the West, you need to do it now, son.
What can he find? Elimination gonna go through fast. Gonna be the one to do it. It's unidentifiable. Where are Arkham, Epic, and Rex? Are they still here? Are they still operating? It looks like they are. Faz will find that Elam, but he's gonna find a lot of damage onto Reed. 3 HP. He barely gets away. Play on the backside. Reed's gonna find it. Will get Chelsea. Will get the siphon. Just enough, but look at how low they are. Can they find more? Reed's gonna find it. Yes! He's trying to pop up, and he is doing just that. That's gonna be symmetrical. Going down, but they're out. They are out. And where are Arkham, Epic, and Rex? They're still here. Again, the gap was low enough. They closed it enough. This is the run. This is it. Can they do it? Can they come back from what seemed like an insurmountable lead? They need to just win. If they win right here, it is definitive. It is theirs. There's no way the gap was anywhere big enough that would be too far gone. They need to find something. They found a lot of eliminations. They're running out of time to find more. They have to drop down, and I love that they claimed the low ground.
They're going down to the low. They want the space. You can see Rex has the power position with that epic shotgun on the side, trying to isolate targets, calling it out. But don't forget, Reed and Faz were able to pick up a couple eliminations on the backside of the zone. They closed the cap a little bit more. The Victory Royale tiebreaker is over to Rex, Arkham, and Epic Whale, but they still need every point possible, but they need the win knowing so. They're looking and trying to find whatever they can on the backside of the zone, but players are dropping like flies, and they're dropping in the side of the zone. They have a great angle. Look at them just opening up, getting the confirmation. Players continue to fall. Top 5 going through. Rex goes down, but he takes a bunch of damage. All shields are still up on Arkham and Epic Whale. 242 on the day so far, and players are still dropping. It's a 3v2v3 to close it out. Oh no, there's more players up, still back in the zone. Ignore me right now. You can see still 5 trios up on their feet. They need the eliminations. James gets one onto Busy there. That's Dog finding it, trying to get the knockdown. Rex finds another Elam on the backside of the zone. Is it going to be enough? NA West to the final moment. Will they win 4 out of 6 games on the last day? Will they put a stamp and make it 5's time? Epic Whale ends up finding the knock on the side. Rex gets another. They have
have it. It's a 3v3 to close it out from the low ground. Kinzo forming healthy, but it's going up a hill. Do they have a change in verticality? This is it for the FNCS championship. No builds, no angles. They have a launch pad, but nothing to place it on. The Flocker is eaten from Epic Whale. He's looking to find a way up, trying to find a change in angle. Rex is the only one to do it. Can he find the shots with only one build? This is it. They drop down. Rex gets cornered off. He's not able to find it. Rex goes down. It's all on Arkham, and they get it taken away. Second place. Kinzo, former and healthy, run out the high ground control. The valiant effort from our 4-time defending champ. They ride it out into second. We saw that Reet and Favs picked up from Elam's. We know the difference right towards the end was about 19 points or so. They went down, I think, about 11th, 12th, 13th. It might have been enough. The tiebreaker is with the era. That's it from me and Clay. Thank you so much. Production, all the other talent, the crew, the players. But to figure out what actually went down and the final call, we're going to kick it on over to the desk. I mean, Zeke, Panda, Kelly, I don't have words. I don't have a voice. Take us home.
Sundown and Clay, thank you so much for putting it all on the line there. Those final moments of this game. We're going to take a look at the standings in just a moment. We are all sitting here waiting, trying to add up the numbers. I can't do math. I never learned. We'll get to the standings as soon as we can. But this is it. We stand on the precipice of something incredible. Either Arkham Rex and Epic Will are your 5-time back-to-back champions, or Reet has finally taken them off the throne, and him and his trio have walked away the winners. In those final moments of that game, so much has gone into this very moment. So many trios have put everything they could, qualifier to semifinals to finals. Reet has poured his entire heart and soul alongside Snacky and Favs into this very moment. Kelly, Panda, we saw this exact thing play out last season. 11 games, a 20-point difference. First place, Favs and Snacky go in with a 20-point lead. The same thing happened here. The question is, was it enough?
I mean, just look at the VRs that we're watching right now. You just see the same two teams over and over and over again. Arkham Rex and Epic Will grabbing 3 VRs today, and as well as a bunch of second place finishes. But was it enough? Favs had such a strong lead. Panda, I don't know what to do.
I don't know either. I don't know if I'm crying myself to sleep tonight or if I'm reining in the champs. But here it is. The moment we've been waiting for, the final VR commences, and our champions are Reed. They took it over!
I can't believe this is happening! It's always darkest before the dawn, friends! We are seeing it by a ridiculous 15 points. Kelly, last season, it was 12 that separated this trio. And now Reet is back. Favs and Snacky up by his side. And they have said by 15 points, we will now take control of your X. We will deny you the 5 times title. And now we are kings of NA West.
What an incredible day of Fortnite this was. To have the 4-time champs Arkham Rex and Epic Whale climb up the leaderboard after a rough day 1, facing off against Reet, Favs, and Snacky in pretty much every single in-game. To have them up by such a lead, to have Reet, Favs, and Snacky go down early in the final game. But it was that last moment. You know that this was such an incredible day. All of these teams should feel proud about the performances that they had, because this right here is what it is all about. Congratulations to all of the champions that you see on the screen, and filling it out for the final region, it's Reet, Favs, and Snacky.
And I gotta say, it's been an incredible day of games, right? We started with Europe with Seti, Cammy, and Teak, showing that staying together and having that great chemistry can get you that dub. Then we switch over to East with Muzz, Muro, and Booga being interesting champions in themselves. Muzz being the first 2 region FNCS champion, Miro being the 3-time, and then Booga getting his first FNCS championship, and then finally, Reed, Fabs, and Snacky dethroning the Kings of West, Arkham Rex, and Epic Whale for the first time in Trio FNCS. I'm still lost. It's amazing. I'm excited. Look, me and Peely, we're about to have a good night tonight. It's going to be good. I'm pumped. I'm ready. Thank you for making this an amazing, amazing weekend.
Well, I told production to save this moment, savor this clip. Production, you want to roll it?
And that's why I am so confident about this choice. And listen, clip it now, because at the end of finals, you guys are going to be like, man, Panda is a wizard. I don't know how he was able to guess that, but no, it's going to happen. It is over for Arkham, Epic Whale, and Rex. It is Reach season now.
Man,
your wizard is here.
I don't know how he guessed that. That's crazy. Wow. I am in shock. Of course, a valiant effort from Arkham Rex and Epic Whale. They're still 4 times champions, right? Just because this is a little bump in the road does not mean they may not come back next season to win it all and say, okay, we let you borrow the axe of champions for a season. That's ours now. Thank you. Okay, bye. I mean, this is a great day. I could not have had more fun. Kelly, Panda, final thoughts before we say goodbye.
Panda.
And real quick, I want to say, don't forget Grand Royale. Right around the corner, there's that opportunity. We see this fight take place again here in just a few weeks. So this is not over, right? By any means. But man, what a way to do it. To so close to the final moments. Even Kelly behind the scenes was maybe hoping Reed and company fell a little bit earlier to make it a little bit more interesting. I'm not calling Kelly out here, the Dark Bomber, but...
My prediction was Reet, Fabs, and Snacky, so I'm right as well. So listen, this is a long time coming, and although we talk a lot about Reet and a lot about Fabs, Snacky has been in the second place position for so long, and has tried out so many different teams, given up their auto qualification spot to try out a new player, and to pick up Reet, who doesn't mesh well with a lot of other teams, to focus on his strong points, which is grabbing those eliminations, going crazy to find the synergy between these 3 players. They deserve it without a doubt. Arkham Rex and Epic Whale are clearly still incredible players in NA West, but it is about time. This was gonna happen, and I'm so glad that it goes to the way of Snacky, Fabs, and Reed.
You know, and I joke about it, right, with Kelly, but Kelly had kind of predicted it. She talked about it season over season, how the points continued to dwindle down. So, listen, Kelly made my pick a little bit easier, but going into the season, I knew there was something about this trio that was ultimately going to cause the upset here on West, and here we have it.
The first time ever new champions take the stage in NA West. Congratulations to all of our new champions across all 7 regions. And to you, Fortnite fam, thank you so much for hanging out with us, for taking this journey with us, for letting us be part of this crazy thing that is Fortnite and Fortnite competitive. We truly appreciate it from the bottom of our hearts. As always, please give Clay and Sundown a follow. Give these 2 incredible humans a follow. Without them, it's just not possible. The next time you'll see us is the Grand Royale. So until then, we love you, and we'll see you on the battle bus.
Final beep beep of the season, beep beep.
Epic Whale looking for challenges. Arkham ends up going up. Rex has already dropped. Epic Whale looking for some room. Finds it. Gets the 100 tag. No way. Get the siphon. Fabs is going to be able to get a med kit. They have the chili chug splash as well. Epic Whale trying to find something, and he found it. Epic Whale says not quite yet.
That and Booga trying to play spoiler, trying to fight anybody on the high ground, but Reed's going to take them down, and they look to close out this game. But it's back over again. It's back and forth. 5 damage above, 5 damage below. They're trying to find more. There's 122 above. That should be it for now, and it's an elimination. But they don't have a lot of builds. Everybody on low ground is running out of HP. All of a sudden, they are disappearing. The lobby is going away. Jackbeard trying to stay up, trying to stay alive, but it doesn't matter because Arkham, Epic Whale, and Rex have just won their 3rd game today. But he's going to find a lot of damage onto Reed. 3 HP. He barely gets away. Player on the backside. Reed's going to find it. Will get Chelsea, will get the siphon just enough, but look at how low they are. Can they find more? Reed's gonna find it. Yes, he's trying to pop up, and he is doing just that.
5 trios up on their feet. They need the eliminations. James gets one onto Busy there. That's Dog finding it, trying to get the knockdown. Rex finds another on the backside of the zone.
And our champions are Reed. They took it